Chapter 27-24. These 9 people were going to the Ice Soul Tribe with Lu Ming to carry out the mission. However, the 9 of them were getting impatient at this moment. Who is our leader? How arrogant of him to make the 9 of us wait here for 2 days. One of the young men said unhappily. That's right. Let's see who is so arrogant. Let's see if he's strong enough to convince us. Another young woman also spoke with an impatient look. Although the others did not say anything, their gloomy faces said it all. They're here. Suddenly, one of the young men looked up at the sky. The others followed suit. 2 figures appeared in the sky. They were Lu Ming and Elder Huoquan. Lu Ming and Huoquan landed on the ground. Elder Huoquan. The young men and women cupped their fists at Huoquan and bowed respectfully. They all knew that although Huoquan was only an outer elder, his true identity was the grand disciple of the sect master, Dragon Zhoushan. He was highly regarded by the Dragon Boat Mountain. Now that he was an outer elder, it was just a trial. Even many inner elders were polite to Huoquan, so they did not dare to offend him. No need to be so polite. Huoquan waved his hand and said. The 9 young men stood up and glanced at Lu Ming, ignoring Lu Ming. Elder Huoquan, you said you were going to bring our leader here. Where is he? We've been waiting here for 2 days. That's right. Who is so arrogant that he can't even invite Elder Huoquan? Everyone started to talk. They did not think that Lu Ming was the person they were waiting for. Lu Ming had an identity token on him. They could tell that he was an outer disciple. How could an outer disciple be the person they were waiting for? Moreover, he was their leader. They thought that Lu Ming was just a follower of Huoquan. You don't have to wait anymore. He's here. Let me introduce him to you. This is Lu Ming. He will be your leader for this mission. Huoquan pointed at Lu Ming and said. What? The 9 young men and women were stunned. They stared at Lu Ming and then at Huoquan. Him? Elder Huoquan, are you mistaken? He's just an outer disciple. How can he carry out the mission with us? Won't he be a burden to us? Moreover, he's our leader. What a joke. 2 of the young men immediately yelled. Kid, you'd better hand us your leader's token. That's right. 20,000 points was equivalent to 200 million divine gems. It was a huge sum even for an ordinary inner disciple. They felt that Lu Ming was envious of the reward and hence tagged along to earn points. Greedy? Lu Ming sneered in his heart. He glanced at the 9 young men and women and said, I've received news that I'm the leader of this mission and all of you have to listen to my orders. Why? Are you rebelling now? Bullshit. What rebellion? Don't flatter yourself. Who do you think you are? That's right. Hand over your leader's token and get lost. A few of them were enraged and shouted. A cold aura was directed at Lu Ming. Enough. At this moment, Huoquan shouted and silenced the crowd. Huoquan glanced at the 9 young men and women unhappily and said, Let me tell you, this mission was personally assigned by the sect leader. Lu Ming is the leader and the sect leader personally appointed him. If you have any objections, speak to the sect leader directly. The 9 young men looked at each other. How would they dare to speak to the sect leader? Are you doubting the sect leader's judgment? Huoquan asked again. We don't dare. The 9 young men and women said hurriedly. Since you don't dare, then act according to the order. Let me tell you, in this mission, you have to listen to Lu Ming's orders. Do you understand? Huoquan's eyes lit up and he emitted a strong and cold aura. Yes, yes, the 9 young men and women nodded. However, no one knew what they were thinking. All right, let's go. I'll take you to the teleportation formation. Then, we'll go through the teleportation formation to the Ice Spirit Tribe. Huoquan said and turned around. The rest of the group followed him. Kongxian School was very far away from the Ice Spirit Tribe. They were separated by many galaxies. Even if they took the teleportation formation, it still took them more than a month. Finally, they arrived on a planet. Huoquan did not continue to send them off. This was the territory of the Ice Spirit Tribe, and there would be people from the Ice Spirit Tribe waiting for them. Is this the Ice Spirit Tribe? Lu Ming looked at the members of the Ice Spirit Tribe curiously. The appearance of the Ice Spirit Tribe was not much different from that of the human race. The biggest difference was their hair and pupils. Their hair and pupils were snow white. Their skin was slightly fairer than that of the human race. As they walked, they emitted a cold aura. Everyone, please follow us. An elder from the Ice Spirit Tribe smiled and led Lu Ming and the rest to the main planet of the Ice Spirit Tribe, the Ice Spirit Planet. After a few days, they arrived at the Ice Spirit Planet. The Ice Spirit Planet, as its name suggested, was sealed in ice. It was a real ice planet. Everywhere on the planet, the temperature was extremely cold. Most of the buildings in the main city of the Ice Spirit Tribe were made of ice that was hundreds of millions of years old. The people from the Ice Soul clan brought Lu Ming and the rest to a hall. This hall was made of ice that had been frozen for hundreds of millions of years. The cold air was oppressive and the temperature was very low. If not for their profound skills, they would have been frozen into popsicles. However, Lu Ming felt very comfortable. He cultivated the ultimate chill divine skill and could control the ultimate chill divine power. As he circulated his divine power, the cold air from the outside constantly flowed into Lu Ming's body. He felt very comfortable. Young heroes, the Ice Spirit Tribe has invited the Kongxian School and some other prodigies from the Qin Tian 13 sects for this mission. Some of them have not arrived yet, so you will have to wait for a few days. You can stay here for the next few days. The elder from the Ice Spirit Tribe said. There are people from other sects coming with us. Everyone's heart skipped a beat as they revealed curious expressions. They were curious as to what the mission this time was. The elder from the Ice Spirit Tribe did not say much. He simply explained a few things and left. After the elder from the Ice Spirit Tribe left, Lu Ming strode into a room. He planned to cultivate while waiting. Chapter 27-25. Lu Ming, stop right there. At this moment, a cold shout was heard. Then, a figure flashed and a young man in a purple robe appeared in front of Lu Ming, blocking his way. Immediately after, their figures flashed and the other 8 young men and women surrounded Lu Ming. You're really in a hurry. The corners of Lu Ming's mouth curled up slightly. There was a sneer at the corners of his mouth. Lu Ming, now that Elder Huoquan is not here, no one can protect you. You'd better hand over the captain's flag. You're not qualified to be our captain, do you understand? The young man in the purple robe said with contempt. That's right. If you hand over the flag obediently, we might let you pass the mission on account that you're from the same sect. You might even get a huge amount of points. Otherwise, we'll have to kick you out. Another young woman was even more domineering and had an arrogant expression on her face. These people couldn't help but make things difficult for Lu Ming as soon as they arrived at the territory of the Ice Soul clan, demanding that he hand over the captain's flag. I'm appointed as the captain by the sect leader himself. Are you going to defy the sect leader's order? Lu Ming said lightly, looking very calm. Don't use the sect leader's name to pressure us. There's an old saying, when a general is out in the field, he can't obey the orders of the emperor. Moreover, this mission concerns all of us. How can we let an outer disciple like you be the captain and endanger our lives? That's right. Moreover, there are people from other sects coming this time. If they know that our Kongxian school's captain is an outer disciple, we'll be laughed at. Why are you talking so much nonsense with him? If he doesn't hand it over, we'll take it ourselves. A few young men said coldly. Some of them were even getting impatient. It's not impossible for me to hand over the flag. At this moment, Lu Ming's voice was suddenly heard. The others laughed disdainfully. They knew that Lu Ming wouldn't dare to disobey them. However, I'm curious. If I hand over the flag to you, who will be the captain? Lu Ming said with a smile. Of course I'll be the captain. My cultivation base is the highest here. A young man with a long face said proudly. Bullshit, your cultivation is the highest? What a joke. Have you asked me? A tall and sturdy young man immediately roared as a powerful aura erupted from his body. 4th level True God Realm. The burly young man exuded a shocking aura. He was at LV4 True God Realm. Lu Ming's eyes moved, revealing a trace of surprise. No wonder he was an elite of the inner sect. He was less than 10,000 years old and his cultivation had reached level 4 True God Realm. With such cultivation, he could be an overlord in the chaotic galaxy. For example, the Yuan Luo Hall's Hall Master and the Walkabout Sex Patriarch were both at the 4th stage True God Realm. However, the battle prowess of the Kongxian School's inner disciples was definitely above the Yuan Luo Hall's Hall Master and the Walkabout Sex Patriarch. Do you think I'm afraid of you? That long-faced youth also erupted with a shocking aura from his body. He was similarly a 4th level True God, contending with the tall and sturdy youth. The eyes of the others were filled with dread and solemnity. Don't let this kid drive a wedge between us. He wants to provoke us into fighting. If we want to fight, let's get the command flag first. It won't be too late to do so. At this moment, another young man spoke. The long-faced youth and the tall and sturdy youth withdrew their aura and looked at Lu Ming. That's right. Let's get the command flag first, then we'll fight to determine who's the leader. The long-faced youth said. Kid, your provocation is too low level. It's useless against us. Hurry up and hand over the command flag. Don't waste our time. The purple-robed youth shouted. The others also stared at Lu Ming with unfriendly looks. Looks like you guys are not too stupid. Alright, whoever wants the command flag can come and get it. Let's see if you have the ability to do so. Lu Ming smiled faintly. He opened his palms and the flag was in his palms. You're overestimating yourself. How dare you fight with us? I'll teach you a lesson first. The purple-robed youth took the initiative to attack. He took a step forward and waved his hand. His 5 fingers stretched out and grabbed at Lu Ming like a cage. Divine power howled. Before the claw reached Lu Ming, the powerful airflow had already crushed Lu Ming. Its power was shocking. The purple-robed youth was in the 2nd level True God Realm. His cultivation is not bad, but his battle strength seems to be average. Lu Ming's heart jumped and he threw a punch out with his bare hands. This kid actually dares to fight back. He's overestimating himself. One move and he'll be kneeling on the ground. The other youths had the same thought in their minds. However, in the next moment, their eyes widened in disbelief. This was because Lu Ming's fist collided with the purple-robed youth's claw. There was a loud explosion and a figure was pushed back. The person who was pushed back was the purple-robed youth. The purple-robed youth staggered back a dozen steps before he could stand firm. You, the purple-robed young man looked at Lu Ming in shock. He simply could not believe it. He was in the 2nd level True God Realm and Lu Ming's aura was only in the 8th level Empty God Realm. He was pushed back by a 8th level Empty God Realm. How could this be? You want to be the leader with such strength? What a joke. Lu Ming smiled disdainfully. Kid, don't be arrogant. I only used 30% of my strength. The purple-robed youth shouted. He had only used 30% of his strength. He thought that 30% of his strength would be enough to deal with an outer disciple. He did not expect Lu Ming's strength to exceed his expectations. I'm sorry. I only used 10% of my strength. Lu Ming smiled faintly. He had only used 10% of his strength. However, how could the others believe him? Shameless boasting. I'd like to see what you're capable of. The purple-robed youth shouted and a ray of sword chi shot up to the sky. A combat sword appeared in his hand and he executed a divine skill. The sword chi whizzed and swept towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming's palm glowed and a long spear appeared. The long spear vibrated and swept towards the purple-robed youth. Boom! 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 After a few explosions, the purple-robed youth's sword chi collapsed and the long spear continued to sweep towards him. His body shook violently and he was sent flying by Lu Ming's spear. He crashed into the wall made of ice and almost broke the wall. Puff! The purple-robed youth spat out a mouthful of blood. His face was pale and he looked at Lu Ming in shock. He had used all of his strength and executed a divine skill. However, he was not a match for Lu Ming's spear and was injured by Lu Ming's spear. How could Lu Ming be so powerful? It was too terrifying and he could not believe it. A level 8 empty god realm was able to suppress him and this was a huge blow to him. The other 8 youths looked at the scene with their mouths agape. Chapter 27-26. His strength is only a so-so. Lu Ming muttered in his heart. He compared the purple-robed youth to Winged Demon, Feng Yuandao, and Feng Zi and realized that the purple-robed youth wasn't a match for Winged Demon, Feng Yuandao, and the others. This was normal. Winged Demon, Feng Yuandao, and the others were ranked in the top 10 of the empty god list. Their combat strength far exceeded those of the same level and they weren't something that other outer disciples could compare to. After they entered the inner sect, they would definitely become the elite disciples of the inner sect. Their future prospects would definitely be incomparable to those of ordinary disciples. Although the purple-robed youth was considered an elite in the inner sect, he was still a distance away from Winged Demon and the others. Although his cultivation had reached the second-rank true god realm, his combat strength wasn't comparable to Feng Yuandao and the others, who were at the first-rank true god realm. Lu Ming's current strength had greatly increased compared to when he was in the Nether Dragon's secret territory. It was easy for him to deal with the purple-robed youth. You're so weak and yet you want to fight for the position of captain. Who else wants the captain flag? Come on. Lu Ming's gaze swept across the other 8 people. The faces of a few people changed. Their cultivation was on par with the purple-robed youth. Since Lu Ming could easily suppress the purple-robed youth, they definitely weren't his match. However, not everyone was afraid of it. Lad, you're pretty strong. You must be one of the top 3 on the empty god list. The long-faced youth squinted his eyes and said coldly. The eyes of the others flashed as realization dawned on them. Only the top 3 empty gods on the empty god list had such terrifying strength. You talk too much. If you want to fight, then hurry up. If you don't, then get lost. Lu Ming reprimanded. Arrogant. I can even easily suppress the number 1 on the empty god list. Today, I'll show you the difference between the outer sect and inner sect. The long-faced youth's eyes were cold. His body flashed and he charged towards Lu Ming like a bolt of lightning. His speed was shockingly fast. This was a godly speed skill and an ordinary person wouldn't be able to react in time. However, Lu Ming wasn't an ordinary person. Wang. The long spear in his hand buzzed and vibrated. Then, it shot out explosively, instantly turning into dozens of spear shadows that pierced in all directions. Whoosh! In the next moment, the long-faced young man's figure appeared. He floated backward and dodged Lu Ming's attack. Brat, your reaction is quite sharp. In that case, I'll use my strength to suppress you. The long-faced youth yelled coldly. The aura of a 4th-level true god completely erupted. A 4th-level true god was much stronger than a 2nd-level true god. Divine power surged like waves, forming a terrifying pressure that pressed down on Lu Ming. A long spear appeared in his hand. Meteor spear. With a low shout, the long-faced youth thrust his spear at Lu Ming like a meteor. A terrifying divine skill, under the support of a level 4 true god's divine power, the power was astonishingly strong. Lu Ming immediately activated the battle character's secret art to double his battle prowess. The divine force in his body circulated at full force, and the 5 divine fires burned fiercely, bursting out with shocking power. World-extinguishing 3 strikes, sky-piercing. Lu Ming used his most powerful move right away. 2 beams of spear gleams collided in the air, as though 2 stars had collided. Dong! A terrifying explosion sounded, and a terrifying force spread out in all directions. The others' faces changed, and they hurriedly retreated, circulating their divine power to resist. Pung! Pung! The scattered energy slammed into the ground and the walls. Even though the ground and walls were made of ice that had been frozen for hundreds of millions of years, they still left deep scars on them. Then, the crowd saw a figure retreating continuously. Every step he took would leave a footprint on the ground. He retreated more than 10 steps before he could stabilize himself. The person who retreated was the long-faced youth. CSISI, at the scene, there was a sound of people sucking in cold air. Lu Ming actually repelled the long-faced youth. How was this possible? The long-faced youth had a 4th-level true god cultivation. An 8th-level void god could actually repel a 4th-level true god. Moreover, it wasn't an ordinary 4th-level true god. What kind of monster was this? The others could no longer use the word shock to describe their feelings. They simply thought that they were dreaming. Impossible, the long-faced youth found it hard to believe. He has some strength. A 4th-level true god is indeed powerful. Lu Ming said in his heart. A 4th-level true god was much stronger than a 2nd-level true god. Even Lu Ming couldn't defeat him easily. And hi, let's attack together. Let's attack together and suppress this kid. At this moment, the long-faced youth shouted. He was calling out to the burly youth. Among this group of people, he and the burly youth, and Hai, had the highest cultivation level. They had reached the 4th level of True God Realm. The rest of them were at the 2nd or 3rd level of True God Realm. They were no match for Lu Ming. Alright, let's attack together. And Hai took a step forward, and a metal rod appeared in his hand. It was pitch black, and looked extremely heavy. Kid, your strength is beyond my expectation. As long as you can defeat the 2 of us, I will recognize you as the leader. No, you will be my boss in the future, and I will follow you. And Hai said in a deep voice, and his eyes revealed a strong fighting spirit. Up to you. Attack. Lu Ming said. Attack. The long-faced youth shouted and unleashed his full strength to attack Lu Ming. He displayed his divine skill, Meteor Spear, to the extreme. At the same time, An Hai also attacked. His iron rod was like a mountain, pressing down on Lu Ming. When the 2 of them joined forces, their strength was unleashed to the extreme, and the power was overwhelming. Even Lu Ming didn't dare to be careless. Boom! Lu Ming activated the battle character formula consecutively, and his combat strength was increased by 3 times. 3rd Strike of Extinction, Sky-Piercing. Lu Ming displayed the 3rd Strike of Extinction once again, and 2 spear lights clashed with the long-faced youth and An Hai. Boom! Boom! After a few collisions, the 2 figures retreated. It was An Hai and the long-faced youth. After Lu Ming activated the 3rd Strike of Extinction, the 2 of them were even weaker, and they were suppressed by Lu Ming. As the 2 of them retreated, Lu Ming immediately followed up. His spear light was like a mountain pillar, pressing down on the 2 of them. The 2 of them roared and tried their best to resist, but they couldn't. As the spear light pressed down, the 2 of them coughed out large mouthfuls of blood. Their figures retreated rapidly, and they crashed into the wall, almost shattering the wall made of 100 million years dark ice. The 2 of them coughed out large mouthfuls of blood, and their faces were as pale as paper. They looked at Lu Ming in horror. God, this, the others were also shocked to the extreme, and their throats were trembling as if there was a lump of dog hair stuck in their throats. Dong! Lu Ming took a step forward, and the palace shook. His fighting spirit was soaring. Wait, I don't want to fight anymore, I don't want to fight anymore, I surrender, and Hai was the first to shout. He looked at Lu Ming with reverence and deep admiration. Lu Ming, you're crazy. I, and Hai, am a man of my words. Since you've defeated us, you'll be the captain from now on, and also my boss. And Hai patted his chest and said. Lu Ming didn't comment. He looked at the long-faced youth and said, what about you, do you still want to fight? Chapter 27:27. The long-faced young man's face turned pale. He gritted his teeth and walked into a room without saying a word. Did I say you could leave? Lu Ming said coldly. The long-faced young man's body stiffened and he stopped in his tracks. What do you want? The long-faced young man asked with an ugly expression. However, Lu Ming ignored him. He swept his gaze across the rest. What about you guys? Who wants to fight? Come at me together. Don't waste time. Lu Ming said. The other 7 young men and women shuddered and broke out in cold sweat. What a joke. The long-faced young man and Hai, 2 level 4 true gods, were no match for Lu Ming. Were they looking for trouble? Senior brother Lu, you must be joking. You are strong enough to be the leader. We are convinced. Yes, we are convinced. The others quickly nodded and bowed. In the cultivation world, the strong were respected. Since Lu Ming was stronger than them, they had to call Lu Ming senior brother, even if he was just an outer disciple. Alright, since that is the case, I will say this. Since I am the leader, you must listen to my orders. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude. Lu Ming said coldly. Of course. The others nodded and bowed. Only the long-faced young man's face became gloomier. Get lost. Lu Ming waved his hands. Everyone felt as if they had been granted amnesty. They found a room to stay in. Lu Ming also found a room to stay in. The next few days were peaceful. Lu Ming cultivated wholeheartedly. 7 days passed in the blink of an eye. After 7 days, the ice soul race that had received them before came again. Lu Ming and the others came to the courtyard. Everyone, the outstanding talents of the other sects are all here. The 9th young master intends to let everyone meet first to familiarize themselves with each other. That way, they will be able to cooperate better in future missions. The 9th young master has already prepared a banquet. The Ice Soul Race Elder said with a smile. Senior, how many sects are participating this time? Lu Ming asked. Other than your Kongshan school, there are 5 other sections. One of them is the Mystic Academy, one of the 3 overlords. The elder from the Ice Soul clan explained. Mystic Academy. Lu Ming, and Hai, and the others were shocked. What exactly was the mission this time around? There were a total of 6 sects and factions invited, and one of them was even an overlord faction. Senior, what is the mission this time? Lu Ming asked again. The others also looked curious. They couldn't understand. The Ice Soul race was extremely powerful. What kind of mission would they have that they couldn't complete on their own? Why would they ask for help? More importantly, the Ice Soul race only needed to send out a high-level true God realm expert to suppress them. 9th young master will explain this later. The old man of the Ice Soul clan smiled and didn't explain further. The group followed the old man and soon arrived at a spacious courtyard. The courtyard was very large, and there was a small lake in the middle of the courtyard. The strangest thing was that the lake water didn't freeze even though the temperature was so low. Rows of seats were placed beside the lake. These seats were also carefully arranged. There were a total of 7 areas. The highest area had the most seats, and it was already filled with people. These people had long snow-white hair and snow-white pupils. It was obvious that they were from the Ice Soul race. The other 5 seats were also filled with people at this moment. Obviously, these people were from the other 5 sections. The group landed on the ground. The Ice Soul Race Elder walked toward the seats and bowed to a young man in the middle. "Ninth young master, the people from the Kongxian school are here." This young man had long snow-white hair and was very handsome. He was the Ice Soul Race's 9th young master, Bing Qing. "All right, you may leave." Bing Qing waved his hand. The Ice Soul Race Elder and the others bowed and left. Lu Ming, and Hai, and the others looked at the people from the other sections. They were all young people. The people from the other 5 sects and the Ice Soul Race were all young people. Judging from their life auras, they were all younger than 10,000 years old. Huya. Suddenly, Lu Ming's eyes moved and he looked at a certain area. This was the area where the Mystic Academy was located. The Mystic Academy had the most people, with a total of 18 people. Lu Ming recognized one of them. It was Huya, the prodigy of the Tiger tribe who had fought with Lu Ming during the Qin Tian 13 sex recruitment test. As Lu Ming and the others were looking at the others were looking at them as well. The Kongxian school actually sent an empty god to do this mission. What a joke. Is he looking down on the Ice Soul Race and treating this mission as a joke? A sharp voice sounded. It came from the Mystic Academy. It was a young man from the Mystic Academy. The others were curious as well. Lu Ming did not deliberately hide his ability. Everyone could tell at one glance that Lu Ming's cultivation level was at the 8th level of the Void God realm. The people who had come to complete this mission were all prodigies of the true God realm and above. Even the people from the Ice Soul Race were surprised that the Kongxian school had sent an empty God realm. Don't spout nonsense. Since when did the Kongxian school look down on the Ice Soul Race? And Hai looked at the young man from the Mystic Academy and said unhappily. You're still denying it? Then why did you send an empty God realm? I think the Kongxian school is just trying to get away with this mission and get more benefits. The young man from the Mystic Academy sneered. The Kongxian school was the leader of the top 10 sections. Their strength had increased rapidly over the years and they had become a threat to the 3 overlords. Therefore, the relationship between the 3 overlords and the Kongxian school wasn't good. The Mystic Academy seized the opportunity to suppress the Kongxian school. Bullshit. The Mystic Academy is the one who is trying to get away with this mission. And Hai shouted. What did you say? Are you looking for trouble? The young man from the Mystic Academy wasn't afraid at all and he exuded a powerful aura. Do you think I'm afraid of you? And Hai said loudly. He didn't back down. The 2 sides were about to fight. You are all guests. Why don't you sit down and have a drink? Bing Qing, the 9th Lord of the Ice Soul Race, laughed and tried to smooth things over. He had to give face to the 9th Lord of the Ice Soul Race. The young man from the Mystic Academy retracted his aura and looked at Hai coldly. I'll let you go today for the sake of Lord Bing Qing. We don't know who will let you go yet. Hai said unhappily. Everyone from the Kongxian school, please take a seat. Bing Qing laughed again and pointed to an empty seat. There were 10 tables and chairs in this seat. It was the same number as the 10 people from the Kongxian school. It was obviously prepared for the Kongxian school. Chapter 27-28. Moreover, these seats were arranged in a particular way. They were arranged like a fan, with the middle seat protruding and the seats on both sides leaning back slightly. Lu Ming and the rest of the team walked toward their seats. Lu Ming sat down in the middle seat while the rest of the team sat on both sides of the seat. The people from the other sects were stunned when they saw where Lu Ming and the rest of the team were seated. This was because the middle seat was usually reserved for the team leaders. For example, the 9th young master of the Ice Spirit tribe, Bing Qing, was seated in the middle. The people from the other sects who were seated in the middle were the team leaders of this mission. If Lu Ming was seated in the middle, Wouldn't that mean that Lu Ming was the team leader of the 10 members of the Kongxian school? An empty god was the team leader? Ha ha ha. What a joke. How could the Kongxian school let an empty god be the team leader? What a joke. The young man from the Mystic Academy who had spoken earlier laughed out loud. His voice was filled with mockery. In my opinion, the Kongxian school has no other capable people. How could they let an empty god be the team leader? I can foresee how useless the rest of the team members are. How could such a sect be worthy of being the top of the top 10 sects? Another young man from the Mystic Academy sneered. The other sects also sneered at the Kongxian school. This time, even Bing Qing and the other young supreme talents from the Ice Spirit tribe looked displeased. It was still acceptable for an empty god to follow them. However, this empty god was actually the leader of the Ice Spirit tribe. This was clearly looking down on the Ice Spirit tribe. What did they take the Ice Spirit tribe for? They had invited the supreme talents from the Kongxian school to help them because they had to give the Kongxian school a lot of benefits. Otherwise, how could Lu Ming and the rest of the team have been rewarded with 20,000 points for completing the mission? The Ice Spirit tribe had given the Kongxian school a lot of benefits so that the Kongxian school could reward them with a lot of points. Now, the young man from the Mystic Academy had said that letting a virtual god be the team leader was simply perfunctory. In the Kongxian school, the long-faced youth, the purple-robed youth, and the others all had ugly expressions on their faces. They had expected this to happen, which was why they wanted to take Lu Ming's position as team leader. You're all fucking bullshit. The position of captain of Kongxian school is naturally reserved for the strongest person. What do you know? Lu Ming didn't say anything, but Anhai couldn't help but roar. The strongest person? A nihility god is your strongest person. You guys are really useless. Ha ha ha. The young men of the Hybrid Demon Academy burst out laughing with mocking expressions. In my opinion, your Kongxian school's title as the leader of the top 10 sects is completely undeserved. Why don't you just give it up? On the right side of Lu Ming's group, a young man from a sect sneered. This sect was one of the Qin Tian 13 sects, the Flowing Water sect. The Flowing Water sect wasn't very strong in the Qin Tian 13 sects. It was almost at the bottom. However, the Flowing Water sect had a very good relationship with the Mystic Academy. They usually followed the Mystic Academy's lead. Some people even joked that the Flowing Water sect was a dog of the Mystic Academy. The Kongxian school and the Mystic Academy had a conflict, so they naturally stood on the side of the Mystic Academy. What's a dog barking for? Anhai retorted very rudely. What did you say? A bunch of useless people. I think you should go back. Don't make a fool of yourself here. You'll drag us down when you participate in the mission. A black-faced youth from the Flowing Water sect hooted. He then looked at Lu Ming with disdain and said, "What? You're not convinced, right? If you're not convinced, then let's fight. Kid, I challenge you now." At the end of his sentence, the black-faced youth stood up and pointed at Lu Ming, shouting loudly. Are you sure you want to challenge me? Lu Ming narrowed his eyes slightly. Yes, I want to challenge you. I'm in the Flowing Water sect and I'm not the captain. Now I challenge you, the captain. Do you dare to accept? The black-faced youth said loudly. He seemed to be reckless, but he was actually very shrewd. In his opinion, Lu Ming was a nihility god realm martial artist who couldn't withstand a single blow. He wasn't the captain of the Flowing Water sect, but he defeated the captain of the Kongxian school. It was equivalent to slapping the Kongxian school's face. He could make a name for himself and please the Mystic Academy's prodigies. It was killing two birds with one stone. You're not qualified to make me fight. Anhai, go and teach him a lesson. Make him kneel on the ground and apologize. Lu Ming raised his wine cup and slowly took a sip. Good, that's what I want. Anhai revealed a ferocious expression and strode towards the Flowing Water sect. Bing Qing's eyes flashed, but she didn't stop him. The Mystic Academy's prodigies also watched with interest. Brat, kneel down. And Hai quickened his pace and finally jumped up. Like a goshawk, he swooped down towards the black-faced youth from the flowing water sect. The vast palm force was like an avalanche as it pressed towards the black-faced youth. The black-faced youth's expression changed as he punched out continuously. His fist technique was like flowing water. After dozens of punches, the sky was filled with fist shadows. The fist shadows gathered into a river and rushed towards Anhai. However, Anhai's cultivation was at level 4 True God Realm, while the black-faced youth was only at level 2 True God Realm. The difference was too big. Under the pressure of Anhai's palm force, the black-faced youth's fist shadows collapsed. Boom! The palm force was like a mountain, pressing down on the black-faced youth. The black-faced youth screamed and knelt on the ground with a plop. Presumptuous! You're courting death. The other youths from the flowing water sect were enraged. They roared and pounced towards Anhai, including the captain of the flowing water sect. Come on, all of you kneel down. Anhai revealed a ferocious expression. A long staff appeared in his hand. The long staff swept out, exploding the void and creating a terrifying boom. The sky was filled with staff shadows, pressing down on the flowing water sect's elites like a mountain. There were a total of 6 youths from the flowing water sect, but the strongest one was only at level 3 True God Realm. He was no match for Anhai. Pung! 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 After a series of explosions, the flowing water sect's disciples were thrown back and vomited blood. Only the captain was in a better state, but he was also thrown back and vomited blood. Level 4 True God Realm. The captain of the flowing water sect shouted, revealing a shocked expression. Those who came this time were those who had cultivated for less than 10,000 years. It was rare to be able to cultivate to level 4 True God Realm within 10,000 years. The others were also shocked. They looked at Anhai with a dignified expression. However, they could not figure out why Anhai was not the captain of the Kongshen school. Instead, the captain was a level 8 empty God Realm martial artist. Could it be that the kid has a high status in the Kongshen school and is the descendant of a big shot? Many people thought so. This was very likely. Otherwise, with Anhai's cultivation, why would they listen to Lu Ming and let Lu Ming be the captain? With your cultivation, you dare to criticize my Kongshen school. Kneel down and apologize to me. Anhai's iron staff pressed down on the captain of the flowing water sect. Chapter 27-29. Anhai's iron rod was like a steel mountain under his divine power. It was extremely thick and filled with terrifying power. Although the flowing water sect's captain tried his best, the difference in their cultivation levels was obvious. He was completely outclassed and was forced to retreat. His body trembled as he coughed out blood. Kneel. Anhai was extremely domineering. He pressed his iron rod down again, wanting to force the flowing water sect's captain to kneel on the ground. Enough. At this moment, a cold voice came from the Mystic Academy. It was the Mystic Academy's captain, a young man with black demonic tattoos on his face. As soon as he spoke, a young man sitting next to him dashed out at an incredible speed. In the next moment, he appeared in front of the flowing water sect's captain. A large cauldron appeared in his hand and he swung it at Anhai's iron rod. Dong! There was an earth-shattering roar as the energy spread out in all directions. Then, the two figures took a few steps back. Anhai and the young man from the Yimo Academy were evenly matched in this exchange. 4th level True God Realm. Anhai licked his lips. His eyes were even more ferocious and filled with a strong desire to battle. Anhai had always been a person who liked to fight. However, Anhai did not continue to attack. He knew that since the Mystic Academy had made a move, it would be difficult to make the flowing water sect's captain kneel. The Kongshen school is so arrogant. You made the other sect's elites kneel in front of everyone. What's wrong? Do you want to replace the Mystic Academy and become the Overlord? The Mystic Academy's captain said coldly. As soon as he opened his mouth, he put a big hat on the Kongxian school's head. As he spoke, the Mystic Academy's captain looked at Lu Ming. His eyes were sharp as he said, "Also, as a captain, can you only hide behind others and give orders? I don't care who you are. It's okay if you act like a tyrant in the Kongxian school, but to act like a tyrant in front of the Mystic Academy is ridiculous. You said it yourself." "I didn't say anything," Lu Ming said indifferently. "But you have done it. You have to look at the owner before beating the dog. You have injured the people of the Flowing Water sect in front of me, you have to pay the price. Now, get out here and apologize to me, apologize to the Flowing Water sect, and apologize to the Mystic Academy." The captain of the Mystic Academy stared at Lu Ming. His gaze was so cold that it pierced through Lu Ming's bones. "Apologize? You think too much. The Flowing Water sect being abused is purely their own fault," Lu Ming said calmly as he continued to drink his wine. His calm demeanor made the Mystic Academy captain's eyes turn even colder. "Good, good, good." The captain of the Mystic Academy said, "Good," 3 times in a row. Then, he said coldly, "Then, you asked for it. Attack, I want that kid to kneel down." Boom. 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 As soon as the captain of the Mystic Academy finished speaking, 7 or 8 people from the Mystic Academy immediately stood up. Their bodies flashed and appeared in different places. A few of them blocked the long-faced young man from the Kongxian school. The long-faced young man's expression changed, but he didn't make a move in the end. He just waited and watched. "Get out of my way." On the other hand, Anhai roared and waved his iron rod, trying to blow away the people in front of him. "Behave yourself." In front of Anhai, the man with the cauldron waved his cauldron like a mountain towards Anhai. The two of them exchanged a few moves, but they were evenly matched. Anhai was held back. In this way, the people of the Kongxian school were all held back. Only Lu Ming was still sitting in his seat and drinking wine. "Leave this kid to me. During the 13 sex assessment, this kid killed many of my tiger tribe's elites. Today, I will make him kneel in front of me and repent." Huya suddenly stood up from his seat in the Mystic Academy and stared at Lu Ming ferociously. "Oh, he's from the same batch as you?" The captain of the Mystic Academy was stunned. "That's right. However, during the 13 sex assessment, my cultivation was suppressed and I couldn't use my full strength. That's why I couldn't take revenge. Now, it's the right time," Huya said ferociously. "All right, I'll leave this kid to you," the captain of the Mystic Academy said. Boom. A powerful aura erupted from Huya's body, suppressing Lu Ming. Level 1 True God Realm. This was Huya's level. During the 13 sex assessment, Huya's cultivation was already at level 9 Empty God Realm. It wasn't surprising that he had broken through to the True God Realm. "Lu Ming, get up and fight with me. I'll let you know what true combat strength is." Huya strode toward Lu Ming. He had a ferocious look and his mouth was wide open. His body was like a huge mountain. Most people would tremble in fear if they were suppressed by his aura. However, Lu Ming didn't even look at Huya as he said, "I'm not interested in fighting with a loser. Find someone who can fight." Although Huya controlled sacred grade divine power and had powerful combat strength, Lu Ming's cultivation had already reached level 8 Void God Realm and he had improved greatly in all aspects. Moreover, he had cultivated the Heaven and Earth 10,000 Tao Sutra. However, Huya felt insulted by Lin Fan's words. "Arrogant. If my cultivation wasn't suppressed back then, I could have killed you with a finger," Huya roared. He took a step forward and appeared before Lu Ming. His huge palm reached out to grab Lu Ming's head. He wanted to crush Lu Ming's head like a watermelon. As the huge palm pressed down, energy filled the air. Lu Ming's seat and the dishes on it shook violently. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. A gust of divine force spread out and covered the dishes, preventing them from moving. Then, Lu Ming raised his hand and stabbed out with his finger like a spear. Shush! A spear radiance shot out from Lu Ming's finger and hit Huya's palm. Boom! When divine forces collided, there was a loud explosion. Then, there was a painful roar. A figure was pushed back, causing the ground to rumble. It was Huya who was pushed back. Moreover, there was a bloody hole in his palm and blood was flowing out. Apart from the people from the Kongxian sect, everyone's gaze froze as they looked at Lu Ming in shock. Lu Ming sat there without moving. How could he be so strong to be able to pierce through Huya's palm? Lu Ming's cultivation was only at level 8 empty God realm. On the other hand, Huya was already at level 1 true God realm. Most importantly, Huya wasn't an ordinary person. He was a peerless genius who controlled divine force. Even in the Mystic Academy, there weren't many people like him. When he grew up, he would be the holy son of the Mystic Academy. He would be qualified to compete for the position of the Dean of the Mystic Academy in the future. His combat strength couldn't be measured by his cultivation. It was easy for him to fight someone of a higher cultivation level. However, he had been injured by Lu Ming, who was a higher cultivation level than him. Even Huya himself was incomparably shocked. This was because he clearly knew that in the previous clash, his divine power had been easily pierced through. Chapter 27:30. Didn't you say that you wanted to show me your strength? Is this all you've got? Lu Ming looked at Huya in disdain, his voice filled with mockery. I don't believe that I will lose to an empty god with my true god realm cultivation. Tigers roar, tear him apart. Huya's eyes turned red as he roared. Divine force surged from his body, causing his body to swell up. Roar! A tiger's roar shook the entire place. Huya turned into a half-human, half-tiger being. He stomped his feet and pounced towards Lu Ming like a gust of wind. This was the secret technique of the tiger tribe. Once it was unleashed, one's strength would increase. Many special tribes had their own secret techniques. Only that tribe could unleash the secret techniques and they were all different. This was something that the human tribe could not compare to. Lu Ming became more serious as he stood up. A long spear appeared in his hand and he swept it out. Boom! A huge spear radiance swept towards Huya. Tear him apart! Huya roared. His fingernails were as sharp as blades as he continuously clawed out. The sky was filled with claw imprints as they clawed towards the spear light. Bam! 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 In an instant, the two of them had clashed dozens of times. Huya's face changed drastically as he grunted and his body flew backwards. In mid-air, blood spurted out from his mouth. A disciple of the Mystic Academy flew towards the sky and caught Huya before landing on the ground. Huya vomited blood as his aura weakened. He was severely injured and could no longer fight. Weak. Lu Ming spoke nonchalantly, his tone full of disdain. Puff. Hearing Lu Ming's words, Huya vomited another mouthful of blood out of anger. He had always thought that he had lost to Lu Ming during the Qin Tian 13 sex assessment because he had suppressed his cultivation. If he had not suppressed his cultivation, he could have killed Lu Ming with a single finger. He didn't expect that after meeting Lu Ming for several decades, he would be unable to withstand a single blow from Lu Ming. He was easily crushed by Lu Ming. It was really hard for him to accept. Brat, how dare you injure a disciple of the Mystic Academy? How dare you? Let me teach you a lesson. With a roar, a bald young man rushed out from the Mystic Academy. This bald youth exuded an extremely shocking aura. He was a level 4 true God realm genius, and his cultivation was not any weaker than an Hai's. Boom! The bald youth soared into the air. His leg was like a steel whip, sweeping towards Lu Ming. This person's leg technique was extremely impressive. Before the leg arrived, the terrifying force was already pressing towards Lu Ming like an avalanche. Lu Ming swept out with his spear and collided with the bald youth's leg. There was a violent explosion. The bald youth's figure floated backward, and the long spear in Lu Ming's hand, which was condensed from divine power, trembled non-stop and almost collapsed. There's a divine artifact on his leg. Lu Ming squinted his eyes. His opponent was wearing a pair of golden boots, which was a divine artifact. Lu Ming didn't use a divine artifact, so the long spear condensed from divine power almost collapsed. With a thought, a divine artifact long spear appeared in Lu Ming's hand. Heaven's stabilizing kick, heaven's stabilizing strike. The bald youth retreated and stabilized himself in the air. Then, he rushed towards Lu Ming. Both of his legs kicked out consecutively. His entire person was like a drill, blasting towards Lu Ming. Sky-piercing. Lu Ming executed the sky-piercing strike. A resplendent spear light collided with the bald youth. Chi energy spread out in all directions, and the bald youth was sent flying back several tens of thousands of meters. His body trembled and he spat out a mouthful of blood. He was injured. How is this possible? The others widened their eyes, unable to believe what they were seeing. Lu Ming actually injured the bald youth. The bald youth was a level 4 true God realm genius. His combat strength wasn't something that Huya could compare with. However, he wasn't a match for Lu Ming. A level 8 empty God realm genius was actually able to suppress a level 4 true God realm genius. What kind of freak was that? Everyone finally knew why Lu Ming could become the leader of the Kongxian school. It was because he had the strength to do so. Previously, Anhai had said loudly that Lu Ming could become the leader of the Kongxian school because he was the strongest. However, no one believed him at that time. They all thought that Anhai was bragging. Now, they knew that what Anhai said was the truth. How is this possible? Huya couldn't believe his own eyes. He was in control of the sacred divine power and considered himself a peerless genius. To him, it was nothing out of the ordinary for him to fight someone of a higher level. However, he now realized that he was nothing compared to Lu Ming. This kid, the leader of the Mystic Academy, narrowed his eyes in shock. Even if it were the remnants of the 3 overlord forces, none of them would possess such horrifying fighting strength if they were to fight at the same level as them. Interesting. The 9th prince of the ice spirit race, Bing Qin, said. The genius of the Mystic Academy is only a so-so. Lu Ming said indifferently. Kid, don't be arrogant. Let me fight you. Take this. The geniuses of the Hybrid Demon Academy were enraged. 2 young men immediately dashed toward Lu Ming and charged toward him. These 2 young men, their cultivations were shockingly also level 4 true God. The Mystic Academy was indeed one of the 3 overlords of the Qin Tian star field. They were indeed powerful. They already had 4 level 4 true God realm geniuses. One should know that the only level 4 true God realm geniuses in the Kongxian school were Anhai and the long-faced youth. Of course, there were other geniuses who had cultivated for less than 10,000 years. However, it was enough to show how powerful the Mystic Academy was. The 2 geniuses at the 4th level of True God Realm attacked Lu Ming fiercely from both sides. Their divine skills had been cultivated to the 3rd level and their powers were very shocking. At the same time, the bald youth also exerted his full strength. He stepped in the air and appeared above Lu Ming. He looked down and stomped his foot down. The 3 experts teamed up to deal with Lu Ming. At the same time, they unleashed their strongest attacks. Even an ordinary level 5 True God Realm or level 6 True God Realm expert would have to dodge, let alone a level 8 Empty God Realm expert. However, Lu Ming's face was calm. At this moment, his battle intent shot up to the sky. An even stronger force was released from his body. The battle character art had tripled his combat strength. 3rd strike of destruction, break the sky. With the battle character art tripled his combat strength, Lu Ming unleashed the 3rd strike of destruction. Whoosh! 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 In the blink of an eye, Lu Ming stabbed his spear out 3 times. The 3 spear shadows shot up from 3 different directions and stabbed towards the 3 young geniuses of the Mystic Academy. Boom! 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 A violent explosion rang out, and it was as if 3 stars had exploded in the sky. You're defeated. Lu Ming roared. As Lu Ming roared, the 3 figures retreated a few thousand meters away. Their bodies were covered in blood. Chapter 27:31. Defeated. The 3 Sky Prides from the Mystic Academy were all defeated. Every one of them had a gunshot wound on their chests. The wound was penetrated from the front to the back, and fresh blood was flowing out. The 3 of them were pale and their auras were weak. Their faces were filled with shock. At that moment, they thought that they were going to die. The others were shocked as well. Lu Ming had won in a 1 versus 3 situation. His combat power could no longer be described as shocking. Even Bing Qing, who was experienced and knowledgeable, had a strong sense of shock in her eyes. The people from the other sects gasped. Mystic Academy, is there anyone else who wants to fight? Lu Ming held his gun with one hand and looked at the people from the Mystic Academy. I didn't expect the Kongxian school to have someone like you. Alright, I'll fight you today. A cold voice sounded. It was the leader of the Mystic Academy. Just now, he had been sitting in his seat, but now, he suddenly stood up. Boom! An incomparably terrifying aura burst out from this person's body, and a boundless pressure permeated the void. Plop! Some people actually couldn't withstand this pressure and directly sat down on the ground. The crowd felt as if a mountain was pressing down on them. This aura, Lu Ming's eyes narrowed slightly, revealing a trace of seriousness. The leader of the Mystic Academy was definitely a terrifying person. The leader of the Mystic Academy was a level 5 true god. However, the aura he gave off was much stronger than the other level 4 true gods. Even if Anhai was a level 5 true god, he wouldn't be able to give off such a strong aura. The divine power that this person wielded was of the saint grade. Without a doubt, he was a top-notch Sky Pride. His combat strength wasn't something that Huya could compare with. Huya was only a level 1 true god, but this person was already a level 5 true god. A powerful aura also erupted from Lu Ming's body. His entire being was like a divine spear, showing its sharpness. Boom! Their auras collided in the air, causing a thunderous explosion. The terrifying pressure caused all the seats to tremble, as if they were about to explode at any moment. Many people quickly used their divine power to protect themselves. They knew that once Lu Ming fought with the leader of the Mystic Academy, the destruction would be terrifying. The 9th young lord of the Ice Soul clan suddenly stood up and stepped between Lu Ming and the leader of the Mystic Academy. A chilling aura radiated from his body. This chilling aura was terrifying. It was as if it was going to freeze everything in the world. Lu Ming and the leader of the Mystic Academy's aura seemed to be frozen by this aura. They couldn't help but retract their auras. What terrifying strength! Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. Bing Qing was most likely more powerful than the team leader of the Hybrid Demon Academy. Can the two of you give me some face and let today's matter end here? Bing Qing asked. He didn't stop them before because he wanted to see how strong they were. However, the situation was getting out of hand. If the Kongxian School and the Mystic Academy fought, it would be detrimental to the mission. Therefore, he stood out to stop them. The leader of the Mystic Academy looked at Bing Qing with a serious expression. He couldn't see through Bing Qing's cultivation and it gave him great pressure. Kid, you're lucky today. I hope your luck will continue to be this good. The leader of the Mystic Academy looked coldly at Lu Ming. A murderous intent flashed in his eyes. The Kongxian School had a prodigy like Lu Ming. This made him feel shocked. This person can't be allowed to live. The leader of the Mystic Academy thought. The Kongxian School was the top of the top 10 sections. They had become stronger over the years and were a threat to the 3 overlords. Therefore, a prodigy like Lu Ming couldn't be allowed to live. Once he grew up, he would be even more terrifying. Lu Ming smiled faintly and returned to his seat. Bing Qing and the others also returned to their seats. Thank you all for coming today. I believe that everyone is curious about the mission this time. Now, I will briefly explain the mission this time. The mission is to go to one of the ancestral grounds of the Ice Spirit Clan and retrieve a treasure called the Ice Jade Heart. The path to the ancestral grounds is guarded by powerful restrictions, especially the age restriction. Only those who are under 10,000 years old can enter. Bing Qing said. Everyone was enlightened. No wonder the sects only sent out prodigies under 10,000 years old. Therefore, with the Ice Spirit Clan's strength, they would ask for help from the other sections. However, the Ice Spirit Clan's prodigies under 10,000 years old were limited. There must be danger in your ancestral grounds. Someone asked. Of course. According to the ancient records, there are desolate beasts inside. Otherwise, why would the Ice Spirit Clan pay such a high price? If you are afraid and don't want to go, you can go back now. The Ice Spirit Clan will send you back. Bing Qing smiled. Everyone was silent. They had already expected that there would be danger. Otherwise, the reward wouldn't be so high. The Kongxian school alone was worth 20,000 points. The other sects gave similar rewards. All right. Since no one wants to back out, we will depart in 3 days. Come, let's drink. Bing Qing said with a smile. Everyone began to toast and drink. After 3 rounds of drinks, everyone left. You guys go back first. I have something to do. Lu Ming said to Enhai and the others. Enhai and the others nodded and left. Soon, only Lu Ming and a few people from the Ice Spirit Clan were left. Brother Lu, do you have something to say? Bing Qing looked at Lu Ming. Yes, I have something to ask the 9th young lord. Lu Ming said. He wanted to ask Bing Qing about the whereabouts of the cold moon stones. If possible, he wanted to buy some. Oh. You guys go back first. Bing Qing waved at the people from the Ice Spirit Clan and they left. Brother Lu, what is it? Bing Qing smiled. 9th young lord, Lu Ming wants to ask if the Ice Spirit Clan has any cold moon stones. Lu Ming went straight to the point and asked directly. Cold moon stones. Bing Qing's expression changed slightly. She nodded and said, that's right. The Ice Spirit Clan does have cold moon stones. There is really one. Lu Ming was elated. 9th young lord, can you sell a few cold moon stones to Lu Ming? Lu Ming asked. Sell them to you? I don't think so. The 9th young lord shook his head. You can't sell them? Lu Ming was stunned. That's right. Brother Lu, to tell you the truth, the cold moon stone is an extremely precious treasure in the Ice Soul Clan. Every time one is used, there will only be one left. Even now, the number of cold moon stones in the Ice Soul Clan is extremely small. They are kept in the treasure vault of our clan's big shots. Even I find it extremely difficult to obtain one. Bing Qing smiled bitterly. Chapter 2732. Lu Ming was disappointed. He originally thought that even if the Ice Soul Clan did not have a lot of cold moon stones, it would not be rare. He did not expect that even in the Ice Soul Clan, cold moon stones were extremely precious treasures. Even Bing Qing found it difficult to obtain one, so it would be impossible for him to buy some. It seems like I'll have to find a replacement in the future if I want to cultivate the frost shackles to greater mastery. Lu Ming sighed inwardly. Cold moon stones weren't the only thing he could use to cultivate the frost shackles to greater mastery. He could also use other precious materials, but most of them were extremely precious. Brother Lu, if you really want the cold moon stones, there's a way. Bing Qing suddenly changed the topic. What way? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. To tell you the truth, most of the cold moon stones in the Ice Soul clan came from the ancestral land. However, the ancestral land was closed for some reason a long time ago, and it was filled with powerful restrictions. Only after a long time will the restrictions weaken, and outsiders can enter the ancestral land. If you're lucky, you might be able to get some cold moon stones this time. Our main purpose in entering the ancestral land this time is to obtain the Ice Jade Heart Chill, but we also want to get some cold moon stones. Bing Qing said. So, the cold moon stones come from the Ice Soul clan's ancestral land. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He was looking forward to this trip to the Ice Soul clan's ancestral land. He had to get some cold moon stones. Brother Lu, if you find any cold moon stones in the ancestral land, they're yours. You can take them with you. Bing Qing added. Thank you, ninth young lord. Lu Ming cupped his fists and thanked her. Then, he left. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. 3 days later, everyone gathered again. There were nearly 100 Sky Prides from the Mystic Academy, Kongshen School, and half of the Sky Prides from the Ice Soul clan. There were about 50 Sky Prides from the Ice Soul clan alone. All the top experts under the age of 10,000 had come. Bing Qing was the leader of the Ice Soul clan. Everyone, please follow me, said Bing Qing as she flew in a certain direction. Everyone followed Bing Qing to a large teleportation portal. The Ice Soul race's territory was very vast. They had more than 80 galaxies and countless planets. Their ancestral land was quite a distance away from the Ice Soul star. Beside the teleportation array, there were already dozens of figures. Those figures were all wearing white gowns. There were both men and women. However, they were all very old. Greetings, elders. Bing Qing and the other prodigies of the Ice Soul clan bowed to the old men. These old men were actually the elders of the Ice Soul clan. They were absolutely terrifying experts. Since everyone is here, let's set off. One of the elders of the Ice Spirit clan said as he stepped into the teleportation portal. Then, the other elders also stepped into the portal. Why would he need so many experts of the Ice Soul clan to work together? The same thought flashed through many people's minds, and then everyone stepped into the teleportation matrix. The teleportation matrix flashed, and everyone disappeared. After half a month of teleportation, they arrived at a barren planet. Then, one of the elders of the Ice Soul clan took out a large starship. Everyone boarded the starship and flew for a few more days. In front of them, a strange place appeared in front of them. In front of them in the universe, there were countless huge rocks floating in the air. These rocks looked like they were formed by the explosion of a planet. From afar, these rocks seemed to form a path that led straight ahead. This was the ancestral land of the Ice Soul clan. The elder put away the starship, and they stood in the universe. However, a layer of light appeared on Lu Ming and the others, enveloping them. True gods couldn't stay in the cosmos for too long. This light screen had naturally been set up by the elders of the Ice Soul tribe. The ancestral land of the Ice Soul clan is in the depths of these rocks. We need to pass through these rocks to enter the ancestral land. Bing Qing explained. Pass through these rocks? We are all in the true god realm. However, true gods cannot stay in the universe for long. Someone's expression changed. In front of them, those huge rocks were floating in the sky. It was no different from being exposed in the universe. Don't worry. This area was formed by the explosion of a planet with life a long time ago. It is full of powerful restrictions. However, because of the restrictions, the environment of this area is similar to that of a planet with life. As long as you are under 10,000 years old, you can enter. Bing Qing explained. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief. Alright, you can go in now. Bing Qing, you must remember that you only have half a year at most. After half a year, the restrictions here will be strengthened again. At that time, you won't be able to come out even if you want to. Remember, regardless of whether you complete the task or not, you must come out within half a year. understand? One of the elders reminded Bing Qing. Understood. Bing Qing nodded. Her figure flashed, and she rushed towards the area filled with broken rocks. She rushed into the area and stood on a huge piece of broken rock. Whoosh! 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 The others also moved. They rushed out and stood on the rocks. It is indeed similar to the other planets with life. Lu Ming landed on a piece of gravel and his heart stirred. The environment here was similar to that of a planet with life. There was air and even divine qi, but the gravity here was much lower. Let's go. Bing Qing led the way into the depths of the area. They jumped on the rocks at an amazing speed. Soon, more than 100 people disappeared in front of the elders of the Ice Soul clan. Let's hope this trip is successful. One of the elders sighed. The Ice Soul heart was very important to the Ice Soul clan. However, a long time ago, there was a great turmoil in the Ice Soul clan. A fierce battle broke out, and the ancestral land of the Ice Soul clan almost collapsed. Since then, a terrifying restriction was formed outside the ancestral land of the Ice Soul clan. No one could enter. They had to wait for a long time for the restriction to weaken for half a year. At that time, people under 10,000 years old could enter. They had sent people in a long time ago, but they failed. If they failed again, they would have to wait for many years. They're here. Suddenly, an elder of the Ice Soul clan looked in a direction. His eyes were filled with terrifying killing intent. The other elders of the Ice Soul clan also looked in that direction with cold eyes. Whoosh! A huge starship came from that direction. As it approached, the starship stopped, and a group of people appeared in the starry sky. The people in the lead were also elders. However, their skin was red, and they emitted a scorching aura that seemed to ignite the starry sky. Chapter 2733. The Flame Race. These people were all experts from the Flame race. In the Qin Tian starfield, there were two races other than the Qin Tian 13 sects that were the strongest. They were the Ice Spirit race and the Flame race. Each of these two races was stronger than any single overlord sect. The two major races together occupied a small half of the Qin Tian star universe's territory. Moreover, the Ice Spirit race and the Flame race had always been at odds with each other. The Ice Spirit race wanted to obtain the Ice Jade Heart from the ancestral land, but the Flame race naturally wouldn't allow it. Every time, the Flame race would send people to stop them. Behind the elders of the Flame race was a group of young experts. In addition to these young experts, there was also a group of young prodigies who weren't from the Flame race. If Lu Ming was here, he would recognize a few familiar faces. Jin Sheng from the Vajra race and Yang Chong. Both of them had competed with Lu Ming during the Qin Tian 13 sex assessment. Later, Jin Sheng joined one of the three overlords, the Invincible Kenzo, while Yang Chong joined one of the three overlords, the Immeasurable Sacred Ground. Needless to say, these young prodigies were from the other Qin Tian 13 sects, the Invincible Kenzo, and the Immeasurable Sacred Ground. Flame race, you really came. An elder from the Ice Spirit race said coldly. You want to obtain the Ice Jade Heart and suppress my Flame race? Don't think it'll be that easy. An elder from the Flame race sneered. Don't even think about stopping us. The elder from the Ice Spirit race said coldly as a powerful aura erupted from his body. Boom! 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 Dozens of elders of the Ice Soul clan burst forth with a terrifying aura at the same time. This aura was filled with a terrifying chill. The starry sky they were in was instantly frozen, and this freezing aura was spreading towards the Flame clan. Insignificant skill. Melt for me. The elder from the Flame race roared. Then, flames erupted from all the experts from the Flame race. The entire space was about to burn. Rumble. One side was cold and the other side was hot. Both sides constantly clashed, causing the space to shake violently. We'll hold off those old bastards from the Ice Soul clan. You guys rush into that area. The Scarlet Flame Tribe's experts roared and attacked together. All kinds of attacks bombarded the Ice Soul Tribe's elder. Kill. The elders of the Ice Soul clan also roared and launched an attack. The two sides engaged in an intense battle, and the scene was extremely shocking. If the two sides were to fight on a planet with life, it would probably cause a devastating disaster. The battle between such characters was too terrifying. Perhaps just a strand of energy leaked out could destroy a small kiliocosm like the primordial realm in the heaven realm. Charge. As the experts from both sides fought, the prodigies from the Flamewing clan and the other sects took the opportunity to charge into the area of rubble. Damn it. The elders of the Ice Soul clan roared, but they couldn't do anything. Countless years ago, the Ice Soul clan had gone through a great turmoil. Now, their strength was no longer as strong as the Flaming Flame clan. The Flaming Flame clan had come prepared. They had blocked the Ice Soul clan and allowed the others to take the opportunity to rush into the Shattered Rocks area. Seeing those young men rushing into the area of broken rocks, the two sides fought fiercely for a while, then both sides retreated and faced each other. Even if they rush into the Shattered Rocks area, they might not be able to stop the prodigies of the Ice Soul clan. An elder of the Ice Soul clan snorted. Oh, that might not be the case. An elder from the Flaming Flame clan sneered. The prodigies of the Flaming Flame clan and the other Qin Heavenly 13 sects moved forward as soon as they entered the Shattered Rocks area. They only stopped after going a long distance. Why did you stop moving forward? A prodigy from the invincible Kenzo asked. Don't worry, we can't enter the real ancestral land of the Ice Soul clan. Moreover, there are dangers in the real ancestral land of the Ice Soul clan. Let's wait here until the people of the Ice Soul clan enter the ancestral land. Even if they manage to obtain the Ice Soul Heart Ice Jade, their vitality will be greatly damaged. Let's wait here and catch them off guard. We can kill them easily, a burly young man from the Flaming Flame clan said. Good plan. The others praised. Then, they set up concealment formations in the area. Lu Ming and the others continued moving forward. They had no idea what was going on behind them. The Shattered Rocks area was very long. They didn't know how many miles they had traveled. The distance they had traveled could be measured in hundreds of millions of miles. These were formed by the explosion of a planet of life. One could imagine how long it had been. After 6 or 7 days of traveling, they finally reached the end of the Shattered Rocks area. A huge light screen appeared in front of them, blocking their path. Behind this light screen is my clan's ancestral land. Only the token of my clan can open it. Bing Qing explained and took out a statue. The statue was only a foot tall. It looked like it was carved out of ice. It was crystal clear and emitted a bone-chilling coldness. Bing Qing lifted the statue and let it float in the air. Then, she formed a mysterious hand seal with both hands. Runes entered the statue one after another. Buzz! The statue began to vibrate and emit a bright light. The bone-chilling coldness became even stronger. Many people couldn't help but shiver and circulate their cultivation to resist. The light screen on the statue seemed to resonate with the light screen. The light screen trembled slightly. Then, a whirlpool appeared on the light screen. Quick, go in! Bing Qing shouted. The prodigy of the Ice Soul race was the first to rush into the whirlpool. Then, Lu Ming and the others rushed into the whirlpool. In the end, only Bing Qing was left. Bing Qing grabbed the statue and rushed into the whirlpool. The whirlpool slowly disappeared. After Lu Ming rushed into the whirlpool, he appeared on top of a mountain. To be more precise, it was an ice mountain. Sweeping his gaze around, Zhang Xian noticed that Anhai and the others were still by his side. It's so cold. Someone shuddered, his voice trembling. The temperature in this world was shockingly low. When a cold wind blew, even true God Realm cultivators couldn't help but feel the coldness. They had to circulate their divine power to resist it. Everyone looked into the distance. What they saw was a snow-white land. It was snowing heavily, and the snow-white icebergs stretched as far as the eye could see. However, Lu Ming cultivated divine power of extreme frost. This environment didn't affect him at all. Instead, he felt very comfortable. He circulated his divine power of extreme frost. Strands of cold air gathered toward him and was refined by him into divine power of extreme frost. If one cultivated in this place, the cultivation speed of those who cultivated cold-type divine power would increase by quite a bit. Ninth young lord, where is the heart of ice jade that you're looking for? This world seems very big. Someone looked at Bing Qing and asked. I have a map here. Then, an ice jade talisman appeared in Bing Qing's hand. She inserted her divine power into it. The jade talisman glowed, and a map appeared in the air. Chapter 2734. Everyone started to look at the map carefully. At the southernmost part of the map, there was a red dot that was shining brightly. This red dot is our current location. The center of the map is our destination. Bing Qing explained and then pointed to the center of the map. There was a sign, the sign of an iceberg, in the center of the map. Memorize this map first. If we get separated, we will meet at the center. Within half a year, we will meet here and go out together. Bing Qing said. Everyone focused on the map and memorized it. Those who had reached the true God realm had a photographic memory. Soon, everyone had memorized the map. Let's go. Bing Qing kept the map and everyone flew towards the north. Hoo hoo hoo, the cold wind was bone-chilling and the temperature was shockingly low. However, there were still living things in this world despite the low temperature. On the iceberg and in the valleys, there were different kinds of plants. Some were as white as jade, some were as red as fire, and some were as green as jade. In the valleys, they could occasionally see the figures of some living things flashing by. Everyone was secretly impressed. Nature was indeed full of wonders. Soon, they had flown tens of millions of miles away. However, there was still a long way to go before they reached the center. G.A. At this moment, there was a sharp and ear-piercing sound. Then, a beam of white light shot up to the sky from one of the icebergs, bringing with it a whistling cold wind as it pounced toward Lu Ming and the group. That's a phoenix. When the crowd saw the white light, they were shocked. The body of the white light was a snow-white bird. It looked exactly the same as the divine beast phoenix. It's a frost jade ice phoenix. Be careful. Bing Qing shouted. G.A. The speed of the frost jade ice phoenix was astonishingly fast. In the blink of an eye, it had reached them. It flapped its wings and many ice crystals, like ice swords, pierced toward Lu Ming and the rest. Its power was terrifying. Everyone took action and used their divine power to block the attack. A long spear appeared in Lu Ming's hand and he swept it towards the ice crystals. Clang! The ice crystals were shattered by Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming's face changed. He realized that the power of the ice crystals was shockingly strong. As expected, some of the weaker ones were pushed back by the ice crystals and vomited blood. G.A. The frost jade ice phoenix let out a cry as it flapped its wings continuously. Countless ice crystals, along with a cold wind, swept towards them. Bastard, I'll kill you. A voice sounded. It was the leader of the Mystic Academy. This person was Lu Shankai. At this moment, his body was emitting black divine power and he threw a few punches. Lu Shankai, as the captain of the Hybrid Demon Academy, controlled holy divine power and had terrifying battle prowess. With a few punches, a few streams of fist force crushed out, shattering a large number of ice crystals. Whoosh! Lu Shankai transformed into a beam of black light and charged towards the frigid jade ice phoenix. Sacred Demon Seal. Lu Shankai's cold voice sounded out. Several black marks on his face flickered with a resplendent black light. Then, they actually formed a large black seal that pressed down on the chilling Jade Ice Phoenix. Ga. The Frost Jade Ice Phoenix let out an angry cry. It opened its mouth and spat out a white beam of light, which collided with Lu Shankai's big seal. Boom! The two of them collided, and the frigid Jade Ice Phoenix's beam of light was shattered. However, the power of Lu Shankai's seal was greatly weakened, and it continued to press down. The frigid Jade Ice Phoenix spread its wings, and they flapped like blades of ice. Boom! The giant seal that Lu Shankai had formed exploded. His figure was knocked backward, and the marks on his face seemed to have cracked open, causing blood to flow out. Lu Shankai was no match for the Frost Jade Ice Phoenix. Many people were shocked. Lu Shankai's strength was shocking, but he was still no match for the Frost Jade Ice Phoenix. If the others went up, they would die. After forcing Lu Shankai back, the Frost Jade Ice Phoenix flapped its wings and turned into a white beam of light. Scram! At this moment, Bing Qing made his move. His entire body seemed to have turned into a beam of sword light and emitted a cold aura. The Frost Jade Ice Phoenix's wings slashed out like blades and collided with Bing Qing's sword light. Dong! A cold aura spread out and both the Frost Jade Ice Phoenix and Bing Qing were pushed back. However, the two of them charged forward again and fought fiercely for more than 10 moves. It was difficult to determine the winner. He blocked it. The others were overjoyed. At the same time, they were shocked by Bing Qing's strength. Bing Qing's combat strength was above Lu Shankai's. Ga. The Frost Jade Ice Phoenix couldn't defeat the Frost Jade Ice Phoenix. It let out an angry cry and its attacks became more and more violent. However, Bing Qing's combat strength was too strong. He completely blocked the Frost Jade Ice Phoenix and even gained the upper hand. However, at this moment, everyone's expression changed. That was because there were sharp screeches in the surroundings. Then, figures rushed out from some of the icebergs. Frost Jade Ice Phoenixes, all of them were Frost Jade Ice Phoenixes. At a glance, there were 8 of them. Including the one from before, there were 9 of them. The 8 that appeared later were huge and their wingspans were more than 200 meters long. Their auras were terrifying and they weren't any weaker than the one from before. Everyone's faces turned extremely ugly. How could they fight with so many Frost Jade Ice Phoenixes? The cries of the 8 Frost Jade Ice Phoenixes resounded through the sky. They flapped their wings and countless ice crystals flew towards Lu Ming and the others. Block it! Someone shouted. Everyone unleashed their full strength to block the ice crystals. Whoosh! Whoosh! Lu Ming waved his long spear continuously. In an instant, dozens of ice crystals were shot out. Lu Ming's figure also floated back. The power of these ice crystals was extremely shocking. Ah! Ah! There were a few screams. Not everyone could block the ice crystals. A few youths were pierced by the ice crystals and were frozen. Then, with a bang, they exploded into pieces. The Kongxian school didn't suffer any losses. Lu Ming had blocked dozens of ice crystals alone and shared a lot of the pressure. However, the Frost Jade Ice Phoenixes were approaching. Let's go, let's go. At this moment, Bing Qing pushed back the Frost Jade Ice Phoenix and rushed towards Lu Ming and the others. Everyone gathered and rushed towards a direction where there were no Frost Jade Ice Phoenixes. Kakaka, a total of 9 Frost Jade Ice Phoenixes chased after Lu Ming and the others. In the blink of an eye, the two parties had flown tens of thousands of miles. However, the 9 Frost Jade Ice Phoenixes were still chasing after them. Everyone's face turned gloomy. They didn't expect to be so unlucky to encounter 9 terrifying Frost Jade Ice Phoenixes. No, if we continue like this, we'll be caught by the 9 Frost Jade Ice Phoenixes sooner or later. We'll be surrounded by them and die. Someone said. Then what should we do? Someone asked. Let's split up. Bing Qing said and made a decision. Split up. Everyone's expression changed. Chapter 27:35. That's right. Let's split up. Bing Qing repeated. There are only 9 frost jade ice phoenixes. If we split up into a dozen groups, at least some of us won't be chased by the frost jade ice phoenixes. Also, if the frost jade ice phoenixes split up, it'll be easier for us to escape. At least we won't be surrounded. Then what if the 9 frost jade ice phoenixes don't split up and chase after one group? Someone asked. Then that group will be unlucky. Bing Qing said. Some people's faces paled, becoming a bit ugly. If they split up and fled, the 9 frost jade ice phoenixes would chase after them. Only death would await them. I agree. Let's split up. Lu Shankai was the first to speak. I agree too. Lu Ming also spoke. 2 sect captains had agreed, and Bing Qing's side had obviously agreed as well. The other sects had no choice but to agree. Alright, how should we split up? We'll decide ourselves. If we split up, we'll meet at the center of the map, Bing Qing said. She then ordered the 50 or so frost jade race prodigies to split into 12 groups and flew in different directions. Lu Ming and the others also split up. Each of the sects split into a group and flew off in a random direction. The 10 people from the Kongxian school gathered together. This way, the 12 groups of the frost jade race and the 6 major sects made a total of 18 groups. There were only 9 frost jade ice phoenixes, so they couldn't chase all 18 groups at the same time. The 9 frost jade ice phoenixes let out a few screeches and split up in 9 different directions, chasing after 9 groups. Ha ha ha, they're not chasing us. Great. We're lucky. Run. 9 of the groups were overjoyed when they weren't chased by the frost jade ice phoenixes. They sped up and fled. Damn it, they're chasing us. How unlucky. The groups that were being chased all had ugly expressions. Fortunately, there was only one frost jade ice phoenix chasing them, so they still had a chance to escape. Lu Ming's group was also being chased by a frost jade ice phoenix. How unlucky. That long-faced youth cursed angrily, using all of his divine power to fly with all of his strength. They were well aware of the frost jade ice phoenix's strength. It was too strong. Even the team leader of the Mystic Academy, Lu Shankai, was no match for it. Most likely, they were no match for it either. They could only try their best to shake it off or hope that it wouldn't pursue them relentlessly. The chase continued for a full 2 hours. They had no idea how far they had run, but the chilling jade ice phoenix was still hot on their heels. Furthermore, due to the long flight, they had used up a lot of their divine power. On the other hand, the frost jade ice phoenix seemed to have an inexhaustible amount of energy. The distance between them was slowly shrinking. At this rate, it was only a matter of time before he was caught. What should we do? If there's really no other way, I'll fight it to the death. A few Kongxian school disciples roared. It was impossible to expect others to come to their rescue. At this moment, they had already been separated from the other sections. You guys go first, I'll stop him. At this moment, Lu Ming suddenly spoke. What? Everyone else was stunned. Lu Ming wanted to stay behind and stop this frost jade ice phoenix alone. Although Lu Ming was strong, he was definitely not a match for this frost jade ice phoenix. Previously, Lu Shankai's strength was shocking enough, but even he was at a disadvantage. Lu Ming was most likely not a match for this frost jade ice phoenix. Whoosh! Lu Ming's flying figure suddenly came to a halt. Seeing this, the others from the Kongxian school could only grit their teeth and continue flying forward. Ga! The frost jade ice phoenix let out a cry. Its sharp and cold eyes stared at Lu Ming as it quickly approached. Come! Lu Ming muttered. His body emitted a strong battle intent. The battle character art suddenly erupted with 3 times the battle strength. Lu Ming naturally didn't stop because he was willing to sacrifice himself for others. The reason why he stopped was because Anhai was a good person. Lu Ming didn't want Anhai to die in the hands of the Frost Jade Ice Phoenix. In addition, Lu Ming was confident that he could escape, which was why he stayed behind. If Lu Ming wasn't confident that he could escape, he wouldn't stay behind. Let me see how strong you are. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. He circulated the 9-layer crimson gold armor, and a crimson gold armor appeared. World-extinguishing 3 strikes, sky-shattering. Lu Ming used his strongest move. Man and Spear Unity, turning into a resplendent spear light that pierced towards the Frost Jade Ice Phoenix. Ga. The Frost Jade Ice Phoenix let out a cry. Its body was covered with a thick layer of ice armor. With its terrifying speed, it was like a sharp sword piercing through the void. A sword light and a spear light collided with each other at an extremely high speed. Boom! A terrifying explosion rang out. The force of the collision formed rings of shockwaves that spread out in all directions. Lu Ming felt a terrifying force rushing towards him. Lu Ming's body violently trembled. He was pushed back by this force, and only stopped after flying a few hundred li. What a powerful force! Lu Ming felt the blood in his body churning, and a trace of blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. Lu Ming was completely at a disadvantage in the previous collision. The Frost Jade Ice Phoenix's strength was above Lu Ming's expectations. If Lu Ming hadn't activated the 9-layer crimson gold armor, his injuries would have been even more severe. Moreover, Lu Ming could control the extreme cold divine power. The Frost Jade Ice Phoenix's extreme cold energy was ineffective against him. If it were someone else, their injuries would have been even more severe. Ga. The Frost Jade Ice Phoenix let out a cry and continued to attack Lu Ming. Again. Lu Ming charged towards the Frost Jade Ice Phoenix once again, pushing his divine power to the limit. Although the Frost Jade Ice Phoenix was strong, it couldn't instantly kill him. It could only slightly injure him. This way, he could use it to temper his divine skill. 9 Heavens Garuda Art. In the process of charging out, Lu Ming executed the 9 Heavens Garuda Art. His entire body seemed to have turned into a Garuda, soaring 90,000 li into the sky. Bam! Lu Ming and the Frost Jade Ice Phoenix clashed once again. This time, Lu Ming was pushed back again. Blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. His injuries were more severe, but it wasn't a big deal. Lu Ming took out a healing divine pill that he had bought beforehand and swallowed it. Once again, he unleashed all his divine power and executed 3 divine skills at the same time, attacking the Frost Jade Ice Phoenix. Using 3 divine skills at the same time consumed a shocking amount of divine power. With Lu Ming's current cultivation, the divine power in his body was almost depleted after a few attacks. However, Lu Ming had the quantifying character art. The quantifying character art stored a large amount of divine power. At this moment, divine power was surging out endlessly. Lu Ming's divine power was replenished again. Boom! 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 Lu Ming clashed with the Frost Jade Ice Phoenix more than a dozen times. Each time, Lu Ming was pushed back. However, Lu Ming's eyes were filled with intense battle intent. Awesome, awesome. Although Lu Ming was injured at this moment, he felt exhilarated. Due to such an intense fight, he was making rapid progress in several types of divine techniques. Chapter 2736. The 9-fold crimson gold armor and apocalyptic 3 strikes were approaching the 4th layer, while the 9 Heavens Garuda art was approaching the limit of the 2nd layer. Lu Ming felt that he could break through at any moment. After that, Lu Ming and the Frost Jade Ice Phoenix clashed a few more times. It's about time. Lu Ming thought to himself. After such a long time, Anhai and the others had already escaped. The Frost Jade Ice Phoenix couldn't catch up to them even if it wanted to. Moreover, after several collisions, although Lu Ming was only slightly injured each time. After so many collisions, Lu Ming's injuries were already quite serious. It was still within his control, but if this continued, his injuries would be serious and his foundation would be damaged. The gains wouldn't make up for the losses. I'm not playing with you anymore. Lu Ming randomly chose a direction and executed the Nine Heavens Garuda art. Like a Garuda, he charged in that direction. The Frost Jade Ice Phoenix cried out and chased after Lu Ming. Its eyes were filled with cold killing intent. Clearly, it was enraged that it couldn't kill Lu Ming after clashing with Lu Ming repeatedly. Whoosh! Whoosh! 2 streaks of light flashed across the sky, leaving behind 2 bright streaks of light as they disappeared into the distance. You're still lacking if you want to catch up to me. Lu Ming smiled and pushed the Nine Heavens Garuda art to the limit. A Garuda really appeared on his body. It looked illusory, but it also increased Lu Ming's speed greatly. I broke through. I broke through to the 3rd layer. Lu Ming was overjoyed. He didn't expect that the Nine Heavens Garuda art would break through to the 3rd layer unintentionally. The Nine Heavens Garuda art wasn't complete. It only had 7 layers, and each layer was more powerful than the last. Once he broke through, his speed would increase greatly. Whoosh! Lu Ming instantly disappeared into the distance, and the distance between him and the Frost Jade Ice Phoenix quickly increased. The Frost Jade Ice Phoenix was different from other divine beast phoenixes. It wasn't known for its speed. The Frost Jade Ice Phoenix's strongest point was its attack. A casual attack could freeze everything. Lu Ming could only resist the Frost Jade Ice Phoenix for so long by relying on his cold divine energy. Therefore, the Frost Jade Ice Phoenix couldn't catch up to Lu Ming after he broke through to the Nine Heavens Garuda art. Lu Ming soon left the Frost Jade Ice Phoenix in the dust. Soon. This battle was worth it. Lu Ming's ability to protect himself. His Garuda usability art. The time, Lu Ming's Garuda. Immediately after, Lu Ming found a secluded place and swallowed another healing elixir, circulating his energy to heal his injuries. Lu Ming's injuries were not serious. After a few hours, he had fully recovered. Moreover, the divine power in his body was boiling and he was at his peak. This was, of course. Garuda used. Garuda Yuda ice divine ice was use time. There's a cold moon stone in this region. Since I'm here, I'll look for it. I can't miss it. Lu Ming pondered. He left the area and headed for the central region according to the map. He cultivated as he traveled. He didn't encounter any more danger. Half a day later, Lu Ming arrived at a snowy mountain range. This mountain range was huge. It stretched between heaven and earth. If he wanted to pass through, he had to cross this mountain range. Roar! Roar! From afar, he could hear a terrifying roar coming from the mountain range. Clearly, there were terrifying desolate beasts living in the mountain range. Lu Ming withdrew his aura and landed on the ground. He revealed his identity and rushed in. Roar! Not long after he entered the mountain range, a huge creature pounced at Lu Ming. It was a huge lizard. It was dozens of meters tall. Its body was snow-white and emitted an icy aura. Its body was covered in a layer of ice armor. It looked like its defense was amazing. Lu Ming stabbed with his spear. Clang! The sound of metal clashing could be heard. The long spear pierced the lizard's ice armor, causing ice to shatter. It made a piercing sound. Break! Lu Ming shouted. His divine power burst forth. The long spear exploded with a terrifying penetrating power. It pierced through the ice armor and killed the lizard. This desolate beast is very strong. Lu Ming thought. The ice-armored lizard's cultivation was only equivalent to a level 1 true god. However, it was stronger than many level 2 true gods. It was harder to kill. In the ancestral land of the Ice Soul race, cold air was everywhere. The desolate beasts that lived here were generally stronger. After killing the lizard, Lu Ming continued to go deeper into the mountain range. Next, different desolate beasts attacked Lu Ming continuously. Fortunately, they weren't particularly strong. There weren't any existences as strong as the frost jade ice phoenix. Soon, Lu Ming had passed through more than half of the mountain range. CSISI, a few giant ice-armored pythons appeared and charged toward Lu Ming. These giant ice-armored pythons were shockingly powerful. Each of them was not weaker than an ordinary 5th-level true god. Coupled with their shocking defense, they were very difficult to kill. Lu Ming spent a lot of effort to kill them. The skin and bones of these ice-armored pythons are good refining materials. They can be used to refine middle-grade divine armors and whips. Lu Ming pondered. Then, he started to peel off the skin and bones of the ice-armored pythons. The soft armors and whips refined from these materials were most suitable for experts who cultivated ice attribute divine power. They could be sold for a good price. There's danger. Lu Ming, who was skinning the pythons, suddenly felt his heart skip a beat. He moved 100 meters to the side. Pung! Pung! A few rays of black light bombarded the place where Lu Ming had been standing. One of the rays even slashed the giant ice armor python, splitting it into two. Such power! Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. He knew the defense of the ice-armored python. Even if he used all his strength, he wouldn't be able to break it so easily. Shwa! Shwa! In a flash, a dozen figures appeared not far away. Lu Shankai from the Mystic Academy. A cold light flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. These people were from the Mystic Academy. Originally, there were 18 people from the Hybrid Demon Academy. But now, it seemed that there were only 16. It seemed that 2 of them had already died. The one leading them was Lu Shankai. Lu Ming, you're the only one left from the Kongxian school. Lu Shankai glanced around. So what if I'm the only one left? Lu Ming said lightly. It's nothing. I can only say that you're unlucky to meet us here. Bing Qing stopped us on the Ice Soul planet. Now, no one can help you. Lu Shankai said coldly. He didn't bother to hide his strong murderous intent. If you want to kill me, you will have to pay a heavy price. Lu Ming held the spear in his hand. A strong battle intent radiated from him. I'll be the main attacker. You guys support me from the back. Kill him as soon as possible. Lu Shankai sent a message to the other members of the Mystic Academy. Lu Ming's strength was too strong. Other than him, no one else was reliable. They could easily be killed by Lu Ming. He had to go first while the others attacked from the back to ensure that nothing would go wrong. Chapter 2737. Swoosh. After the transmission, Lu Shankai rushed out. At the same time, the black runes on his face glowed and shot out several rays of black light. These rays of black light were the ones that attacked Lu Ming previously. They were extremely powerful and Lu Ming did not dare to be careless. Boom! With surging battle intent, Lu Ming activated the Battle Character Sutra to double his combat strength. The 5 divine flames in his dantian burned fiercely and all of his divine force erupted in an instant. In an instant, Lu Ming stabbed out more than a dozen times. More than a dozen spear shadows pierced out and clashed with Lu Shankai's rays of black light. Boom! 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 Continuous explosions rang out and the ice on the ground exploded. Lu Ming's body trembled as he felt an extremely powerful force rushing towards him, forcing him to retreat. Wang! Wang! The long spear in Lu Ming's hand vibrated continuously and he felt his hand go numb. What powerful strength! Lu Ming's face turned solemn. Lu Shankai's strength was truly shocking. With his cultivation in the 5th level of the True God realm and the control of Saint-grade divine force, his strength was far from what An Hai and the others could compare to. Kill. At the same time, the other people from the Mystic Academy also attacked. For example, Wuxia and the others were filled with killing intent as they launched terrifying attacks. Lu Ming activated the 9-layered golden armor, and a golden armor covered his entire body. At the same time, Lu Ming retreated rapidly to avoid the attacks. Trying to dodge. Stay here. Lu Shankai said coldly as he charged towards Lu Ming. The black runes on his face glowed again and shot out rays of black light. These rays of black light were sharper than divine blades and their speed was shocking. Again. Lu Ming bellowed. His fighting spirit suddenly became stronger. He had successfully triggered 3 times his combat ability. Next, Lu Ming used the 3 strokes of annihilation. The spear light burst out, and once again collided with Lu Shankai's black light. This time, Lu Ming successfully broke through Lu Shankai's attack. At the same time, he blocked the attacks of the others. You do have some strength. Lu Shankai's cold voice resounded, but the murderous intent in his eyes intensified. The stronger Lu Ming was, the more they had to get rid of him. Kill. Lu Shankai let out a long roar, and his aura became even more terrifying. His entire body was enveloped by a layer of black divine power, making him look like a demonic god. The runes on his face glowed even brighter. Then, a large seal condensed in his hand and slammed down on Lu Ming. Boom! The seal was as huge as a mountain, and its aura was terrifying. Before it even landed, the ice on the ground was shattered. The huge seal directly enveloped Lu Ming within. Lu Ming had seen Lu Shankai use this move against the frigid jade ice phoenix before. One had to know that Lu Shankai didn't have the ability to control the frost element divine energy. During the battle with the frigid jade ice phoenix, he had to defend himself against the frigid jade ice phoenix's frost element divine energy. Even so, he was still able to contend against the frigid jade ice phoenix. Third strike of annihilation, sky-piercing. Lu Ming didn't dare to be careless and attacked with all his might. A dazzling spear radiance shot up into the sky and collided with the black seal. A loud boom was heard. Then, a figure fell to the ground and smashed heavily on the ground. It was Lu Ming. Lu Shankai's strength was indeed shocking. Even though Lu Ming had used all his strength, he was still no match for him. Good chance, kill. Wuxia roared and attacked together with the other members of the Mystic Academy. They attacked Lu Ming one after another. Boom! The ground exploded, and a figure soared into the sky like a rock. Although Lu Ming was no match for Lu Shankai, his injuries weren't too serious. He used the 9 heavens rock art and soared into the sky, avoiding Wuxia and the others' attacks. Want to leave? Stay. Lu Shankai was like a ray of black demonic light as he soared into the sky and attacked Lu Ming. Let's go. Lu Ming didn't want to continue fighting. He used the 9 heavens rock art and turned to leave. With his current strength, he was still weaker than Lu Shankai. With the support of the other members of the Mystic Academy, he was definitely no match for Lu Shankai. If he continued to fight, he would be in danger. The third level of the 9 heavens rock art was shockingly fast. Lu Ming seemed to have turned into a phantom as he fled. Humph, you want to escape from me? Dream on. Wings of the devil. Lu Shankai coldly shouted. The runes on his face shone even brighter and then spread to the rest of his body. Soon, the rest of his body was covered by the runes. Then, a pair of wings suddenly stretched out from his back. A pair of demonic wings. This was the innate secret technique of the Lu Shankai family. Whoosh! After extending the wings of the devil, Lu Shankai's speed suddenly increased as he charged towards Lu Ming. His speed was even faster than Lu Ming's. It wasn't that his innate secret technique was stronger than the 9 heavens rock art. It was just that Lu Shankai's cultivation level was higher. When he used it, his speed was naturally faster. Lu Ming's expression changed slightly. His divine power surged as he flew forward with all his might. The two of them were extremely fast. Along the way, some desolate beasts noticed them. They didn't even have time to attack before the two of them flashed past. Quick, follow them. The other members of the Mystic Academy also rushed in the direction that Lu Ming and Lu Shankai had flown. Lu Ming and Lu Shankai had flown tens of thousands of miles in the blink of an eye. However, the distance between the two of them was getting shorter and shorter. You won't be able to escape. If I don't kill you today, my name isn't Lu Shankai. Lu Shankai said coldly. He waved his hands and a few black beams of light slashed towards Lu Ming. They directly bombarded Lu Ming's 9-layered crimson gold armor, almost shattering Lu Ming's armor. Whoosh! Whoosh! Lu Shankai continuously attacked, while Lu Ming blocked with his spear. In the blink of an eye, another few thousand miles had passed. Lu Ming's expression suddenly changed. A huge canyon appeared in front of him. Within the canyon, there was an extremely terrifying cold air. This cold air even made people feel a sense of danger. Lu Ming didn't even turn his head as he rushed into the canyon. Splash! After Lu Ming rushed into the canyon, he realized that this wasn't an ordinary canyon. There was actually water below the canyon. Yes, there was actually water in such a cold place. It looked like a long and narrow lake. Above the lake, there was constantly a white mist that spread out, severely obstructing one's vision in the canyon. Chi-chi, what was even more shocking was that the white mist that spread out from the lake emitted a chi-chi sound when it came into contact with Lu Ming. Lu Ming was currently circulating his 9-layered crimson gold armor. However, at this moment, a layer of frost had appeared on the surface of the 9-layered crimson gold armor. The 9-layered crimson gold armor had been severely damaged. A terrifying cold air was spreading towards Lu Ming's body. What a terrifying cold air! Lu Ming was shocked. The cold air that spread out from the lake was actually so cold that even the 9-layered crimson gold armor was about to be frozen. Lu Ming hurriedly circulated his supreme frost divine force to counteract the cold air outside. However, Lu Shankai didn't have supreme frost divine force. He circulated his divine force to resist, but the surface of his body was still covered with a layer of frost. It was bone-chilling. Chapter 2738. Lu Shankai couldn't help but slow down. He even retracted his demon wings as they were covered with a layer of frost. This is a good place. Let's go deeper. Lu Ming's eyes sparkled as he retracted his extreme cold divine power. Immediately, Lu Ming's body was covered with a layer of frost. He looked like a snowman as he continued to fly deeper into the canyon. Looking at Lu Ming's appearance, Lu Shankai thought that Lu Ming couldn't hold on any longer. The cold chi here is terrifying. I don't think an 8th level empty god realm like you can withstand it. This will be your burial ground. The killing intent in Lu Shankai's eyes grew colder as he continued to chase after Lu Ming. Soon, they reached the depths of the canyon. The cold chi here was even more terrifying. What's under the water? Why is there such terrifying cold chi here? Lu Ming pondered and was curious. At the same time, he slowed down. Die, brat! Lu Shankai shouted coldly as he launched an attack on Lu Ming. However, he had to resist the cold chi while launching an attack. Naturally, the power of his attack was weaker than the outside. You're the one who's going to die. Lu Ming suddenly turned around. His eyes were as cold as a knife as he circulated his extreme cold divine power to block the cold chi outside. Then, his divine power erupted as he attacked Lu Shankai. Boom! Boom! After a few explosions, a figure retreated. It was Lu Shankai. How could you use your full strength? Lu Shankai shouted in shock. The cold chi here was too terrifying. If one circulated his divine power to block it, his body would be frozen. Once he circulated his divine power to block it, his combat strength would be weakened. However, Lu Ming's attack wasn't weak at all. No, you've mastered the extreme cold divine power. How is it possible? You didn't use the extreme cold divine power just now. Thinking of this, Lu Shankai shouted in shock. It was unbelievable. One person could control several divine powers at the same time. Kill. Lu Ming didn't bother to talk nonsense with him and attacked Lu Shankai again. The spear light was like a rainbow, revealing a terrifying killing intent. Want to kill me? Don't even think about it. Lu Shankai let out a roar as runes appeared all over his body, increasing his strength by a few notches. He condensed a pitch-black cauldron and blasted it towards Lu Ming. But unfortunately, he still had to divert a portion of his divine power to resist the cold air outside, so it was difficult for him to unleash his strongest might. In the collision with Lu Ming, he was at a disadvantage. Boom! The pitch-black seal shattered, and Lu Shankai was sent flying backwards while vomiting blood. Kill! Lu Ming seized the opportunity and crazily attacked Lu Shankai. Crash! The energy surged, and the lake water surged, creating thousands of waves. Some of the lake water fell on Lu Ming's body. Immediately, a bone-piercing chill spread throughout Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming couldn't help but shudder. One had to know that Lu Ming was circulating the supreme frost divine power at this moment, but he still felt the chill. The temperature of the lake water was shockingly low. If Lu Ming was already like this, Lu Shankai was naturally worse. When he was splashed by the lake water, his body turned into a block of ice. Even his divine power was about to be frozen. Ah! Lu Shankai roared and burned his divine power. His divine power burned like flames, melting the ice and removing the chill. However, Lu Ming's attack arrived. A spear light pierced towards Lu Shankai's vitals. He roared and avoided the attack, but his chest was still pierced by the spear light, and his body flew far away. Lu Ming, remember this, Lu Shankai roared, stretched out his demon wings, and turned to run. He knew that he couldn't kill Lu Ming today. If he continued to stay, he might really die here. Where do you think you're going? Lu Ming chased after him. However, Lu Shankai was burning his divine power, and his speed was shocking. Lu Ming couldn't catch up to him for a while. Soon, Lu Shankai rushed out of the valley. After rushing out of the valley, Lu Shankai spurted out a few mouthfuls of blood. His aura was weak, and he was severely injured. He didn't dare to stay any longer. He turned into a streak of light and flew away. It's a pity that this guy got away. Lu Ming didn't chase after him, and he sighed inwardly. Lu Shankai flew all the way, and soon, he ran into other people from the Mystic Academy. The other people from the Mystic Academy were shocked and they saw Lu Shankai injured. Senior brother Lu, what happened to you? Where is Lu Ming? Lu Ming, that brat, was he killed by senior brother Lu? The disciples of the Mystic Academy spoke one after another. Lu Shankai's face turned gloomy, and he said, Lu Ming isn't dead yet. That brat is very cunning. He hid in a dangerous place, and I accidentally fell into his trap. Now, I need to find a place to heal. The others were shocked. So Lu Ming was still alive, and he seemed to have tricked Lu Shankai and injured him. Immediately, they found a secluded place to stay. Lu Shankai did not reveal the fact that Lu Ming had mastered a few types of divine powers. He had selfish motives. He wanted to kill Lu Ming secretly and seize that cultivation technique. He can control several types of divine power at the same time. What kind of divine art is this? I must get it. Lu Shankai's eyes shone with a cold light. He swallowed a divine pill and started to heal. Lu Ming didn't leave the valley. The cold air in the valley made Lu Ming curious. Lu Ming decided to explore. Lu Ming went deeper into the valley. The deeper he went, the colder the air became. If he didn't cultivate the cold attribute divine power, it would be difficult to resist. However, Lu Ming had the cold divine power, so he could resist it. Soon, he reached the end of the valley, which was separated by an ice wall. The cold air was the thickest here, and it was constantly being emitted from the lake. There must be something under the water. Let's go down and take a look. Lu Ming made up his mind. Then, he activated the cold divine power and covered it with all his strength, and plunged into the lake. Once he entered the lake, Lu Ming shivered again. The temperature in the lake was shockingly low. However, Lu Ming still resisted it and slowly dived down. The lake wasn't very deep, only about 100 meters. Soon, Lu Ming reached the bottom of the lake. As soon as Lu Ming reached the bottom of the lake, he found something strange. At the bottom of the lake, there was a ball of snow-white liquid. It was the size of a fist and was floating in the lake, emitting a shocking coldness. Lu Ming concluded that the source of the coldness here was this ball of liquid. What kind of liquid is this? It's actually filled with such shocking coldness? Lu Ming looked at it carefully, but he couldn't recognize it at all. This is most likely a treasure. I can't miss it. Lu Ming approached it slowly. There was nothing strange. Then, Lu Ming took out a storage ring. A suction force appeared and enveloped the ball of liquid. The ball of liquid was successfully stored in the storage ring. Once the liquid was stored, the temperature here quickly rose. The coldness was greatly reduced, and it wasn't that cold anymore. That liquid was indeed the source of the coldness here. Let's take it back and study it. Lu Ming grabbed the storage ring in his hand and was about to take it back to study it slowly. However, at this moment, Lu Ming was shocked by a scene. Chapter 2739. Lu Ming grabbed the storage ring and was about to put it away when a terrifying chill suddenly gushed out from the storage ring, almost freezing Lu Ming's hand. Lu Ming quickly let go of the storage ring, only to see that there was already a layer of frost on the storage ring. Crack. Following that, a crack appeared on the surface of the storage ring. After the first crack appeared, a second crack appeared immediately. Then, more and more cracks appeared. In the end, the cracks were densely packed like a spider web. Bang! A moment later, the storage ring shattered into pieces like a piece of ice, and the ball of liquid reappeared in the lake, emitting a shocking chill. Lu Ming was tongue-tied when the storage ring was frozen and shattered. Fortunately, there was nothing else in the storage ring. Lu Ming was afraid that the other things would be frozen by the liquid, so he took an empty storage ring to store the liquid. He never expected that even the storage ring could not store it. Kid, this kind of treasure usually needs to be stored in a corresponding tool or sealed before it can be taken away. You can't just take it away with the storage ring. The voice of the quantifying formula sounded in Lu Ming's mind. Old quantifying formula, do you know any sealing techniques? Teach me one or two. Lu Ming said. I don't know. The quantifying formula replied, making Lu Ming roll his eyes. Can't I take this treasure away? Lu Ming was a little speechless, and he felt very uncomfortable. The ball of liquid was definitely a rare treasure. It would be strange if he did not feel uncomfortable when he encountered a treasure but could not take it away. That's not necessarily true. Don't you cultivate the ice attribute secret technique? Just refine the liquid and make it a part of your secret technique. Not only can you take it away, but it can also transform your secret technique and make it powerful. The quantifying formula said. That's right. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He came here to look for the cold moon stone to cultivate the ice chains, but other than the cold moon stone, other ice attribute treasures might be able to replace it. If he cultivated with this ball of liquid, he might be able to increase the power of the ice chains. Then let's begin. Lu Ming looked expectant. He immediately activated the ice chain's secret technique, and 9 ice chains extended from his body. Brat, wait a moment. Rather than cultivating 9 chains, why don't you cultivate one? Focus on cultivating 1 ice chain with this ball of liquid. Only then will you be able to truly unleash the power of this ball of liquid. If you cultivate 9 chains and spread them out, they won't be as powerful. The quantifying formula reminded him again. That makes sense. Lu Ming nodded. With a thought, the other 8 ice chains were put away, leaving only 1 ice chain to wrap around the ball of liquid. As soon as it was wrapped around the liquid, the ice chains began to make cracking sounds, as if they were about to be frozen. The ice shackles were originally extremely cold and iron, but now they were about to be frozen. From this, it could be seen that this ball of liquid was extremely cold. Furthermore, waves of shocking coldness flowed through the ice shackles and rushed into Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming quickly circulated his sovereign's god force and extreme frost god force to resist the coldness. Then, according to the ice chain's secret technique, he began to absorb and refine the ball of liquid. This was a difficult process, and the speed was very slow. Time passed day by day. 1 day, 5 days, 10 days, 1 month. Lu Ming's refinement took 2 months. During this time, Lu Shankai led the Mystic Academy's people to block Lu Ming at the valley's entrance. However, more than a month had passed, and Lu Ming still hadn't come out. Lu Shankai thought that Lu Ming had left long ago, so he left as well. After 2 months of refining, the ball of liquid was finally completely refined by Lu Ming. It was completely integrated into the ice chain's secret technique. The ice chain's secret technique seemed to have solidified, and a bone-piercing coldness emanated from them. Good, good. Lu Ming was extremely satisfied. The ice chain's secret technique was extremely powerful, and it could definitely become Lu Ming's trump card. Once he used it, he could catch his opponent off guard and seal them in ice. Lu Ming put away the ice chain's secret technique with satisfaction. The ice chain's secret technique retracted into Lu Ming's body and disappeared. Since it had been refined, it naturally didn't affect Lu Ming in the slightest. It's already been 2 months, I have to hurry to the central region. Lu Ming pondered for a moment before leaving the valley and heading towards the central region. Along the way, Lu Ming also searched for the cold moon stone. Unfortunately, he didn't find any traces of the cold moon stone. Just like that, after half a month, Lu Ming finally arrived at his destination. There was an incomparably huge iceberg in the central region. This iceberg pierced through the clouds, and it was several 100,000 meters tall. This was the destination of their trip. The ice jade chilling heart that the Ice Soul tribe was looking for was on this iceberg. However, this iceberg wasn't easy to ascend. There was a terrifying seal here that prevented flight. One could only climb up the mountain. However, there were many powerful desolate beasts guarding the mountain. The Ice Soul tribe's 9th prince, Bing Qing, and many others from the Ice Soul tribe had arrived. In addition, Lu Shankai and the others had also arrived. They didn't ascend the mountain immediately. Instead, they waited for everyone to arrive and gather their strongest forces before ascending the mountain together. More people are coming. Suddenly, someone looked in a direction. 9 figures flew over from the other side. These 9 people were the Kongxian school's disciples, and Hai, and the others. After a few months of trekking, they had finally arrived at this place. They are the Kongxian school's disciples. When Lu Shankai saw the Kongxian school's disciples, his eyes were filled with a cold light. His body moved, and he charged towards Hai and the others. His powerful aura was like a mountain, pressing down on Hai and the others. Boom! Hai and the others' bodies shook violently as they retreated. Some of the weaker ones even spat out a mouthful of blood. Lu Shankai, what are you doing? Hai was furious. What am I doing? Lu Shankai sneered. His cold-killing intent spread out, causing the surroundings to become even colder. Whoosh! 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 The other disciples of the Mystic Academy flashed and surrounded Hai and the others. Hai and the others' faces turned pale. Where is Lu Ming? Lu Shankai asked coldly. I don't know. We were separated from him a long time ago. The long-faced young man replied. Separated? Well, since that kid isn't here, I'll take your lives. Lu Shankai said savagely. The black lines on his face glowed as he was about to kill Anhai and the others. Anhai and the others' faces changed drastically. The 9 of them gathered together and set up layers of defense. Brother Lu, wait a minute. At this moment, Bing Qing spoke and walked over. Ninth Prince, are you going to stop me? Lu Shankai looked at Bing Qing. This time, the Ice Soul Tribe invited you here to retrieve the Ice Jade Heart. Now that we haven't gotten the Ice Jade Heart, I have to ensure that we gather the strongest forces. If you have any grudges, settle them after we get the Ice Jade Heart. At that time, I won't stop you. Bing Qing said. His meaning was clear. Now, he needed everyone's strength to retrieve the Ice Jade Heart. Once they got the Ice Jade Heart, they could fight however they wanted. Chapter 2740. Lu Shankai's expression changed, then he smiled coldly and said, since the 9th young lord has spoken, I'll give you face. However, the Kongxian school has offended me, and I can't let them off so easily. Then, he looked at Anhai and the others and said condescendingly, I'll give you a chance. Kneel down and kowtow to me, and I'll spare your lives. What? You want us to kneel down and kowtow to you? Don't even think about it. Anhai roared. Kneeling down and kowtowing to Lu Shankai in front of so many people was an insult. Moreover, if this matter were to spread to the Kongxian school, they wouldn't be able to stay in the school anymore. It wasn't just their personal humiliation, but also the Kongxian school's. That's right, Lu Shankai. Every debt has its debtor. Lu Ming has offended you, so you should be looking for Lu Ming, not us. The long-faced young man also shouted. Lu Ming is from the Kongxian school. He has offended me, so all of you are guilty. Do you understand? Now, kneel down. Lu Shankai shouted coldly, and the aura on his body became more violent. It pressed down on Anhai and the others like a mountain. A few of the weaker cultivators were immediately unable to withstand it. They spat out blood and fell to the ground. Only Anhai and the long-faced young man were still struggling to hold on. You still want to resist? Get down. Lu Shankai let out a cold roar and stretched out his hand. A huge palm formed and pressed down on Anhai and the long-faced young man. The 2 of them roared and unleashed their full power to block. However, they were no match for the palm. Their bodies trembled violently and they fell to the ground like meteors. Boom! Lu Shankai looked down from above, and his aura became more violent, pressing down on Anhai and the others. Kneel down. Lu Shankai stepped forward step by step, and the violent pressure continued to press down on Anhai and the others. Plop. Finally, some of the weaker ones couldn't withstand it and knelt down with a plop. Kneel down. The other masters of the Mystic Academy joined in as well, releasing their pressuring auras. With so many masters exerting pressure together, the pressure was even more astonishing. The disciples of Kongxian school found it even more difficult to bear. One by one, they knelt down. In the end, only Anhai and the long-faced young man had not knelt down. They were bitterly holding on. Still not kneeling? You're courting death. Lu Shankai shouted coldly and pressed down with another palm. A huge palm formed, wanting to force Anhai and the others to kneel on the ground. Lu Shankai, you're so impressive. At this moment, a cold voice sounded from afar. Before the voice had even finished, a spear ray had already flown over and pierced through the spear ray that Lu Shankai had condensed. Lu Ming. Lu Shankai stared coldly into the distance. Over there, a figure was flying over. If it wasn't Lu Ming, who else could it be? After traveling for more than half a month, Lu Ming finally arrived at this place, just in time to see the scene of Lu Shankai oppressing Anhai and the others. Boss. Seeing Lu Ming, Anhai was overjoyed. Lu Ming flew over and stopped not far away. Kid, you finally dare to show yourself. I thought you wouldn't dare to show yourself. Lu Shankai said coldly. Why wouldn't I dare to show myself to a loser? Lu Ming smiled disdainfully. On the side, Bing Qing and the others were shocked. Loser? Could it be that Lu Ming had already fought with Lu Shankai before and Lu Shankai was defeated? Lu Ming was so strong. Nonsense, you're just taking advantage of the environment. Now, let's see how you're going to fight against me. Lu Shankai shouted, his killing intent becoming even more intense. You too, if there's anything, let's settle it later. Bing Qing stood out and spoke. Ninth young master, don't worry, I won't kill him now. I just want him to kneel down and kowtow to me. Lu Shankai said coldly. I have the same intention. Looking at Lu Shankai, a trace of killing intent flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. Seeing that the two were at daggers drawn, Bing Qing helplessly shook her head and retreated to the side. Lu Ming, kneel down and kowtow to me. Lu Shankai roared, the runes on his face glowing and quickly covering his entire body. Shoo shoo shoo. A few rays of black light burst forth and slashed toward Lu Ming. Fight! Lu Ming's body burst out with an astonishing battle intent. He had been silently activating the battle formula before, and now he had succeeded in activating the battle formula to double his battle strength. Buzz! The long spear vibrated, causing the air to explode. Several rays of spear light pierced through the air and charged forward. After a series of explosions, the spear light and Lu Shankai's light collapsed, and Lu Ming's figure floated back. So powerful, although Lu Ming retreated, the others were still shocked by Lu Ming's battle strength. Lu Ming could actually block Lu Shankai's attack. In their eyes, it was simply unbelievable. Kill! Lu Shankai roared, exerting his strength to the extreme. He pushed his hands forward, and a large black seal condensed, pressing down on Lu Ming. The large seal stirred up waves in the sky, and its power was astonishing. 9 Heavens Garuda Technique. Lu Ming displayed the 9 Heavens Garuda Technique, and like a Garuda, he soared into the sky and dodged Lu Shankai's attack in a flash. You want to leave? Stay. A pair of devil wings extended from Lu Shankai's back. As he flapped, his speed was equally astonishing. He chased after Lu Ming and launched a fierce attack at the same time. Sky-piercing. Lu Ming suddenly turned around and displayed the 3 strikes of extinction. Boom! A mushroom cloud seemed to erupt in the sky, and then Lu Ming's figure floated back. Lu Ming was indeed no match for Lu Shankai in a head-on confrontation, mainly because the difference in cultivation was too great. Lu Ming, if you don't kneel today, then die. Lu Shankai's cold voice rang out, and he continued to attack Lu Ming. Boom! Boom! 2 figures flickered in the sky, constantly colliding with each other. Their speed was extremely fast, and some of the weaker cultivators couldn't even see the trajectory of their figures. Lu Ming is going to lose. Someone whispered. After continuous collisions, Lu Ming's breath was a little unstable, and blood was flowing out from the corner of his mouth. Kneel. Lu Shankai looked down from above, holding a large seal in his hand, and smashed it down on Lu Ming. He wanted to suppress Lu Ming and make Lu Ming kneel on the ground. Now! Lu Ming's eyes flickered, staring at Lu Shankai's figure. He then displayed the sky-piercing, and rushed towards Lu Shankai as one. Boom! This collision shook Lu Ming's body, and he vomited blood. His body fell to the ground like a kite with a broken string. Seeing this, Lu Shankai revealed a ferocious expression. He flapped his demon wings and rushed towards Lu Ming like a bolt of lightning. In an instant, he was close to Lu Ming, but he found that Lu Ming's face was very calm, and there was even a trace of a sneer at the corner of his mouth. Not good. Lu Shankai's heart beat wildly, and he had a bad premonition. Ice shackles. At this time, Lu Ming spoke indifferently, and a chain suddenly flew out from his body. It was the secret technique, ice shackles. As soon as the ice shackles came out, the surrounding temperature dropped sharply. Chapter 2741. The ice shackles was a secret technique condensed from divine energy. It could be long or short. Lu Ming suddenly used it. The ice shackles became a few thousand meters long like a snake and shrouded Lu Shankai. Then, the ice shackles shrunk, trying to bind Lu Shankai. Lu Shankai's face changed drastically. He felt a bone-piercing coldness shrouding him, trying to freeze him into a popsicle. "Break it!" Lu Shankai roared. Divine energy burst out from his body and the runes on his body shone brightly. Rays of black light that were sharper than a divine blade slashed at the ice shackles. Clang! 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 Sparks flew everywhere, but the ice shackles remained intact. The ice shackles wouldn't have been able to block Lu Shankai's attack before he refined the ice shackles. But now, Lu Shankai couldn't break the ice shackles at all. Whoosh! The ice shackles shook and shrunk rapidly, wrapping around Lu Shankai. Break! 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 Lu Shankai roared crazily and continued to attack. He even formed a seal to attack, but it was useless. The terrifying cold air continued to invade Lu Shankai's body. He felt as if the blood in his body was being frozen. In the next moment, the ice shackles wrapped around Lu Shankai's body, freezing him into a popsicle. Although Lu Shankai had been using his divine energy to resist, he wouldn't be able to last long. Lu Shankai was actually defeated. Everyone was dumbfounded. They didn't expect this to happen. Especially the disciples of the Mystic Academy. Their faces were pale. They knew how strong Lu Shankai was. But now, even Lu Shankai couldn't defeat Lu Ming. They wouldn't be able to withstand a single blow if they went up. What a terrifying coldness. Bing Qing and the other sky prides of the Ice Spirit clan looked at Lu Ming in shock. Then, they looked at the ice shackles. The reason for that was because the chilliness emitted by the ice shackles caused even them to feel apprehensive, and their hearts to palpitate. They were experts in ice. It was rare to see a coldness that could make them shudder. "Now, it's time for you to kneel." Lu Ming walked towards Lu Shankai step by step. With a thought, the ice shackles danced and smashed onto the ground. Boom! The ground shook and Lu Shankai fell into it. Lu Shankai spat out blood. His body was still bound by the ice shackles. At this moment, he couldn't move at all. His entire body was frozen stiff. Next, Lu Ming controlled the ice shackles to lift Lu Shankai up and smash him down again. This time, Lu Ming controlled it very well. He directly made Lu Shankai kneel on the ground. Lu Shankai. Lu Ming. He had actually knelt in front of Lu Ming in front of everyone. Lu Shankai was a genius who could control holy divine power. He was one of the top geniuses in the Mystic Academy. Once he entered the heavenly god realm, he would become the holy son of the Mystic Academy. In the future, he would have a chance to compete for the position of the Dean of the Mystic Academy. But now, he had actually knelt in front of Lu Ming in front of everyone. This was not only a matter of pride for him. It was also a matter of pride for the Mystic Academy. If news of this spread to the Mystic Academy, he would definitely lose the right to become the Holy Son. How could a person who knelt in front of a disciple of the Kongxian school be qualified to become the Holy Son? Wouldn't that be a huge loss of face for the Hybrid Devil Academy? Therefore, kneeling was equivalent to ruining Lu Shankai's future. Therefore, Lu Shankai was filled with hatred. He wanted to skin Lu Ming alive. If you want others to kneel, you should be prepared to kneel. Today, I will spare your life for the sake of the 9th young lord. Lu Ming said coldly as he put away the ice shackles. Now that Lu Ming had refined the ice shackles, its power had increased greatly. Lu Ming was no longer afraid of Lu Shankai. Now, it was more important to reach the peak. Lu Ming guessed that there might be a cold moon stone on the peak of the mountain. After he obtained the cold moon stone, He would definitely kill Lu Shankai if he had the chance to do so in order to prevent future trouble. After Lu Ming put away the ice shackles, Lu Shankai's body was still frozen. He continued to circulate his holy divine power until his body recovered after a while. His heart was filled with endless killing intent, but he suppressed it. He suppressed it and returned to the Mystic Academy with a gloomy face. Everyone continued to wait. A few days later, more people arrived. This time, most of the elites from the various sects had arrived. Of course, there were fewer people, most probably dead. Alright, now that everyone is here, let's set off. The ice jade chilling heart is at the peak of that mountain, said Bing Qing, looking at the ice mountain in the distance that was as tall as the sky. There are many desolate beasts on that ice peak. The most shocking thing is that there are a few terrifying ice dragons at the bottom of the ice peak. These ice dragons are all in the heavenly god realm. Bing Qing said. What? Heavenly god realm ice dragons? Are you kidding? How can we break through a heavenly god realm ice dragon? We are courting death. That's right. A heavenly god realm ice dragon can freeze us into popsicles with one breath. Ninth young lord, are you mistaken? Many people shouted when they heard Bing Qing's words. That's right. A heavenly god realm ice dragon is not something we can handle. Of course, we don't need to. My ice soul tribe already has a plan. Bing Qing smiled. Everyone calmed down. Although the ice dragon is strong, my ice soul tribe has prepared a type of chilling heart grass. We have injected a deadly poison into the chilling heart grass. The ice dragon loves to eat the chilling heart grass. Once they discover it, they will definitely swallow it. That way, they will be poisoned. This deadly poison is enough to make a heavenly god realm ice dragon unconscious for half a month. Half a month is enough for us to reach the peak of the mountain and get the ice jade chilling heart. Bing Qing explained. That's great. Everyone nodded. Immediately, everyone concealed their aura and approached the ice peak carefully. When they were a few hundred miles away from the ice peak, they saw a few ice dragons lying at the foot of the ice peak. Each ice dragon was 10,000 meters long and they were lying at the foot of the ice peak like a few mountain ranges. Wait for me here. Bing Qing reminded him. Then, her figure flashed and she went forward. After moving forward for a while, Bing Qing took out a jade box from her storage ring. The surface of the jade box was covered with strange runes. Bing Qing removed the runes carefully and opened the jade box. She took out a few stalks of chilling heart grass and placed them on the ground. Bing Qing ran back to Lu Ming and the others quickly. As soon as the chilling heart grass appeared, it emitted a strong fragrance that spread a few thousand miles away. The few ice dragons immediately smelled the fragrance of the chilling heart grass. Their noses twitched and they opened their eyes. Chapter 2742. A dragon's roar was heard, shaking the 9 heavens. The entire ice mountain shook and a vast dragon's aura filled the air. It was terrifying. Lu Ming and the others retracted their auras and did not dare to move. A heavenly god was too powerful. They were not someone they could fight against. They could kill them all in one move. Dong! 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 The ice dragon stood up and stomped on the ground, causing the ground to shake. A few of the ice dragons stared at the chilling heart grass. They twisted their bodies and came near the chilling heart grass. However, their eyes flashed with doubt. They were puzzled as to why the chilling heart grass would appear here. Although the ice dragons were puzzled, they could not resist the temptation of the chilling heart grass. They opened their mouths and swallowed the chilling heart grass. They seemed to be enjoying themselves. It's done. Bing Qing was overjoyed. She stared at the ice dragons. After the ice dragons finished eating the chilling heart grass, they turned around and walked back. However, as they walked, their bodies began to stagger as if they were drunk. In the end, with a few thuds, they fell to the ground one after another and fell asleep. It's done. The ice dragons are unconscious. Someone shouted in surprise. Everyone, let's go. These ice dragons will not wake up in half a month. Bing Qing smiled and rushed towards the ice mountain. The others followed her. As expected, when they got close to the ice dragons, they did not react at all. They were still sleeping. Swoosh! Suddenly, a sword radiance shot out. A young man stabbed his sword at the neck of one of the ice dragons. However, when the combat sword hit the ice dragon's neck, there was a crisp sound of collision. Sparks flew, but the ice dragon was unharmed. What are you doing? Do you want to die? If you wake up the ice dragon, we will all die. Bing Qing shouted. She looked terrible as she stared at one of the young men. That young man was a genius from the Mystic Academy. His eyes shone with greed. Obviously, he wanted to kill the ice dragon and obtain its corpse. This ice dragon was a heavenly god realm existence. Everything on its body was a treasure. If he brought it out, it would be priceless. Unfortunately, the heavenly god realm ice dragon's defense was too strong. Even if it lay there motionless, he would not be able to break through its defense. After being scolded by Bing Qing, the young man's expression changed drastically. Don't act rashly. A heavenly god realm ice dragon is not something we can kill. Lu Shankai also spoke. Actually, many people had the same thought earlier. They wanted to kill the ice dragon. However, none of them dared to do so now. The ice dragon's defense was too strong. If they couldn't kill it in one move, they could only injure it and awaken it. Otherwise, they would all die. If anyone dares to do such a foolish thing again, don't blame me for being merciless. Bing Qing warned and continued to move forward. Soon, they passed by a few ice dragons and arrived at the foot of the ice mountain. When they arrived here, they felt that the world was filled with a powerful pressure that pressed down on them. Go! Bing Qing took the lead and rushed towards the top of the ice mountain. Roar! Roar! They had only rushed out a few thousand meters when there were roars coming from the top of the ice mountain. The rocks that looked like ice stones suddenly wriggled and turned into desolate beasts. It turned out that many of the ice stones were actually desolate beasts. When they came up, they immediately alerted the desolate beasts. These desolate beasts included ice-armored lizards, ice-armored pythons, ice-armored giant bulls and others. All of them were covered in ice armor and they roared as they charged towards Lu Ming and the rest. Kill! Bing Qing took the lead and charged forward. Sword radiance burst out and in an instant, 3 desolate beasts were split in half. Swoosh! Lu Ming stabbed with his spear and pierced through an ice-armored giant bull, killing it on the spot. These desolate beasts weren't too strong. Most of them were peak empty god realm. Some of them were level 1 and 2 true god realm, so it wasn't too difficult to kill them. They gathered together and formed a cone shape. They quickly pushed forward and rushed towards the top of the ice mountain. However, as they continued to go up, the desolate beasts that appeared became stronger and harder to kill. Gradually, there were no more empty god realm desolate beasts. Those that appeared were mostly true god realm desolate beasts. Their speed became slower and slower. Bing Qing was still brave and invincible. Every move she made could kill a desolate beast. In addition, Lu Shankai was also very strong. With a wave of his hand, rays of black light burst out and killed a level 3 true god desolate beast. Lu Ming shook his long spear and pulled it out, splitting a 3rd level true god ice-armored giant python into 2 halves. With the 3 experts leading the way and the rest cooperating, although their speed had slowed down, they were still moving forward slowly and nearing the top of the mountain. If they continued, it wouldn't take long for them to reach the top of the mountain. However, at this moment, there was a sudden change. In a place further away, there were roars of beasts. Then, the mountain rumbled and large groups of desolate beasts charged towards them. There were desolate beasts from both left and right. In front of these desolate beasts, there were a few figures flashing rapidly. Those few figures weren't desolate beasts. They were from the Ice Soul race. Yes, they looked very similar to the Ice Soul race. They had snow-white hair and snow-white eyes. The only difference was that their skin was slightly darker. Dark Ice race. Damn it. It's the Dark Ice race. How did they enter the ancestors' land? Immediately, a few supreme talents from the Ice Soul race shouted angrily. Dark Ice race? What's the Dark Ice race? Someone asked. The supreme talents from the Ice Soul race looked gloomy. Let me explain. A long time ago, the Dark Ice race was a member of the Ice Soul race. However, the Dark Ice race was betrayed by the Ice Soul race and started a civil war. That war was extremely tragic. In the end, the Ice Soul race's ancestors' land was destroyed and our strength was greatly reduced. In the end, the Dark Ice race was defeated and the remaining people went into hiding. All these years, they have been secretly opposing the Ice Soul race. Bing Qing explained quickly and simply. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He understood many things. He had heard that the Ice Soul race used to be very powerful. However, after a great war, their ancestors' land was destroyed and their strength was greatly reduced. As a result, they were no match for the Flaming race. A long time ago, the Ice Soul race was more powerful than the Flaming race. They were the real number one force in the Qin Tian Star Zone. It turned out that there was a civil war. In the past, the Dark Ice race couldn't enter the ancestors' land without the ancestors' token. This time, the Dark Ice race was able to enter the ancestors' land and lay in ambush. Bing Qing said through gritted teeth. Everyone understood what Bing Qing meant. Obviously, the Dark Ice race had entered the ancestors' land earlier than them. However, they probably had no way to deal with the Ice Dragon, so they hid in the dark and waited for them to kill the Ice Dragon. After that, they would appear and lure other desolate beasts to attack Lu Ming and the others. It's impossible for you to get the Ice Jade Chilling Heart. Go to hell. A young man from the Dark Ice race laughed coldly and rushed toward them. Chapter 2743. The young men from the Dark Ice tribe looked ferocious. When they got close to Lu Ming's group, the wild beasts that had been attacking Lu Ming's group also attacked them. Together with the wild beasts chasing them, the young men from the Dark Ice tribe were drowned by the wild beasts in an instant and died in the crowd. However, the wild beasts they had attracted also noticed Lu Ming's group and joined the attack. Lu Ming's group was heavily surrounded. Apparently, the young men from the Dark Ice tribe were like men of sacrifice. They had sacrificed themselves to attract a large number of wild beasts to trap them. Look! Shouted someone. He looked in one direction and saw many silhouettes dashing towards the top of the mountain. They were all from the Dark Ice clan. They wanted to reach the top of the mountain first. Apparently, their target was Bing Chilling Heart. Damn it! Bing Qing shouted anxiously. You guys block them. I'll go first. Bing Qing said. Then, he unleashed his full strength and slashed out a terrifying sword light. Dozens of wild beasts were killed in succession. Bing Qing rushed forward quickly. He wanted to stop the Dark Ice tribe alone. Bing Chilling Heart was very important. It was related to the rise of the Ice Soul tribe. He could not let it fall into the hands of the Dark Ice tribe. Bing Qing's fighting strength was amazing. Soon, he opened a path and got out of the encirclement. At the same time, a figure from the Dark Ice tribe suddenly changed direction and rushed toward Bing Qing. When Bing Qing finally got out of the encirclement of the wild beasts, the young man from the Dark Ice tribe had arrived. Your opponent is me. The young man from the Dark Ice tribe said coldly. He slashed his saber at Bing Qing. The saber light was cold and powerful. Bing Qing blocked it with his sword. The two of them fought fiercely. The young man from the Dark Ice tribe was obviously a peerless genius. He was evenly matched with Bing Qing. The other members of the Dark Ice Tribe were quickly approaching the top of the mountain. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. Then, he used the ice chain. Whoosh! A cold ice chain flew out and lashed at those wild beasts. Lu Ming was surprised to see that when he waved his cold ice chain, those wild beasts actually revealed a look of fear. They did not dare to resist and kept retreating. How could it be? Lu Ming was delighted. It was probably because of the cold liquid. How could Lu Ming let go of this opportunity? His figure flashed and he dashed out. With a few flashes, he dashed out of the encirclement of the desolate beasts. Bing Qing and Lu Ming dashed out consecutively. The pressure on the rest increased tremendously. They had to give up on attacking and turn to defense. Only then did they stabilize their footing. Lu Ming moved and dashed toward the peak of the mountain. Seeing Lu Ming rush out, Bing Qing was overjoyed. She shouted, "Lu Ming, you must stop them from getting the Ice Jade Chilling Heart. If you can get the Ice Jade Chilling Heart, you will be a friend of the Ice Soul clan." Lu Ming did not reply. He kept rushing toward the top of the mountain. His main goal was the Cold Moon Stone. Stopping the Dark Ice Tribe was secondary. Seeing Lu Ming rushing toward them, the members of the Dark Ice Tribe looked gloomy. "Kill him!" The genius of the Dark Ice Tribe who was fighting with Bing Qing shouted. Immediately, two prodigies from the Dark Ice Clan dashed toward Lu Ming at an alarming speed. Very soon, they were near Lu Ming. Their cold sabers slashed toward Lu Ming. Whoosh! Whoosh! Lu Ming waved his long spear and attacked. Clang! Clang! There were two consecutive booming sounds and Lu Ming felt a gush of powerful energy surging toward him. His figure retreated slightly. These two are so strong. Lu Ming was surprised. Even if they were not as strong as Lu Shankai, they were not far behind. Kill! The two geniuses of the Dark Ice Tribe shouted and continued to attack Lu Ming violently. Ice Chain! Lu Ming did not want to fight with them. He used the ice chain directly. Clang! Clang! The opponent's saber slashed at the ice chains, but it was blocked by the ice chains. In the next moment, the two youths of the Dark Ice Tribe were shocked. They felt a strong chill coming from the ice chain. They had cultivated the extreme cold divine power and were naturally not afraid of the cold. However, this chill made them shudder. Furthermore, a layer of ice immediately condensed on their blades and rapidly spread towards their bodies. How is this possible? The two of them were shocked. They kept using their divine power to resist the chill. However, Lu Ming controlled the ice chain with all his strength and whipped it toward the two of them. The two of them tried their best to resist. Although they managed to block a few moves, their bodies were gradually frozen and their movements became slower. Kill! Lu Ming waved his long spear and stabbed it twice. The two geniuses of the Dark Ice Tribe were frozen. Even if they wanted to dodge, it was too late. They were pierced through by Lu Ming's long spear and died on the spot. Lu Ming rushed toward the top of the mountain. Great! Bing Qing was overjoyed. The young man from the Dark Ice Tribe who was fighting with Bing Qing looked terrible. The two young men from the Dark Ice Tribe who had been killed by Lu Ming were two of the top geniuses of the Dark Ice Tribe. It was a great loss for them to be killed by Lu Ming. It's too late. He can't stop them even if he goes now. The young man from the Dark Ice Tribe shouted coldly. The geniuses of the Dark Ice Tribe were about to reach the top of the mountain. Lu Ming sped up but was still a step behind. When he neared the top of the mountain, he saw a huge ice platform on the top of the mountain. The ice platform was glowing and a fist-sized rock was suspended in the air above the ice platform. The stone was snow white and looked like a beautiful jade. Ice Jade Chilling Heart. Lu Ming's heart jumped. It was very likely to be the Ice Jade Chilling Heart. Ha ha ha, I found it. It belongs to my tribe. The Dark Ice Tribe will definitely rise. Will destroy the Ice Spirit Tribe and become the overlord of the Qin Tian Star area. The young man from the Dark Ice Tribe was overjoyed. Immediately, several young men from the Dark Ice Tribe rushed toward the Ice Jade Chilling Heart. However, they had to step onto the ice platform first if they wanted to get the Ice Jade Chilling Heart. The ice platform was huge and round, with a diameter of 1,000 meters. Something amazing happened. The moment the young men from the Dark Ice Tribe stepped onto the ice platform, their bodies froze. Then, a layer of ice crystals appeared on their bodies and covered them. The young men of the Dark Ice Tribe were frozen like statues, motionless. Their faces were still full of shock. The rest of the heavenly talents from the Dark Ice Tribe gasped and stopped in their tracks. Whoosh! Lu Ming flashed a few times and appeared on the other side of the ice platform. He also stopped and did not rush up. The ice platform contained a terrifying chill. As soon as they stepped onto it, they were frozen. The young men from the Dark Ice Tribe were experts. 2 of them were even at the LV4 True God realm, which was comparable to an high. However, they were frozen within a few seconds. You're tuning into the Biyao's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.